Touchdown, Huskers! Isaiah Hunter with a Husker touchdown.
Who do you think you're fooling? Nobody's thinking about their job the day before a Husker game.
Pedals the throw. Blitz picked up. Harris went out deep right sideline. 50-50 ball. It's picked off. The black shirts with the dagger. Malcolm Hartzog with a giant pick. Sails the night for the Big Red. Drifts back to throw. Dumps it to an underneath crosser. Goody made the catch. Got popped. Ball's loose, but they say incomplete.
This is the Friday Husker Tailgate with Jack Mitchell, Nate Rohr, John Bishop, and Kevin Suits on Lincoln's Husker Radio, 1400 KLIN.
Nobody's thinking about their job the day after or the day before an off week. We're just not thinking about our jobs. It's kind of what's happening with the economy right now. Anyway, glad to have you with us. Welcome to the Friday Husker Tailgate post-win edition. No one's thinking about their job after a win. A bye week, guys, after a win, much better than a bye or an idle week after a loss. We've experienced this a lot the last few years. Done it again going into a bye week here with a win. And frankly, I will tell you what, and if I don't, an entertaining game, an entertaining, compelling game for Nebraska, particularly on the offensive side. And yes, we will get to the elephant in the room probably many times. The discussion that you've probably had at your dinner table, at your workplace, right, on your favorite internet, social media, whatever it is. Latif versus Raiola. Listen, here's the thing, guys. And by the way, John Bishop will join us for a second. Nate Rohr, Kenny Larrabee's in here doing video. You can watch us if you'd like to on Facebook or Twitter, on KLIN accounts, or YouTube if you'd like to do that. Also my Twitter account as well. Here's what I'm envisioning, especially if things go well, and hopefully they do for TJ Latif next weekend against Penn State, and the Nebraska offense continues to roll at that point. I can see this scenario playing out at 2 weeks from yesterday at tables that have been set with cornucopias, turkeys, stuffing, all the fixins, and all of a sudden, Grandpa, do you think TJ Latif or Dylan Raiola should be quarterback? And then all of a sudden you're like, oh no. And all of a sudden you just put it out. It's like, what's everyone think about Trump?
Yes.
Just try it. Just try it and get a more comfortable topic that people do not get as passionate about and will not end up in a fist fight. So let's go to politics.
Yes.
Perhaps. No, all kidding aside, look, you're in Nate, it's been the omnipresent discussion.
Yes.
Everywhere you go. It's been impossible to avoid. A lot of takes. A lot of people saying, I told you so. I mean, that is here's the interesting thing about this whole thing. Because I believe any discussion of who the starting quarterback is in August of 2026 is so premature, right? Right now, even assuming that they were both here and you had that choice that you would have to make, and that's an assumption as it is. I will not even if we assume that and I had to take a position at the end of this year or in the coming weeks, I've got to see the next two games.
Yeah.
I have got to see the next two games. All of that's, and I think everyone does. That is not to minimize what TJ Latif did against UCLA. As we talked about, though, it probably was set up in the best way possible in a lot of ways, and thank goodness, but he passed it with flying colors.
Yeah,
he passed with 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, high completion percentage, throwing passes when Nebraska's running the clock out, nailing them. Running the ball a little, not a lot. You were right, Nate. I was thinking about that Saturday night. Our over under 10 rushing attempts, and then when he ran on the first play, it was on pace for like 200 rushing attempts, or 80 rushing attempts.
And that slowed down.
I was feeling very good. But for me, and I get why it's coming up, because you've got a lot of people that felt like they were summarily dismissed when they said earlier this year They called into our favorite radio shows, including one that airs on this station.
Yes.
Many times, starting about a month ago.
Yes.
And shared their opinion about the quarterback position. And so they want their pound of flesh. And I get it. I would too. I was not one of the people who was calling for it. But let's see. That's all I want to say. Let's see. And then let's talk on the day after Black Friday. If you want to have the discussion then, which you still probably don't need to. But in any case, it's fun.
Yeah. It's good that think of the discussion we're having opposed to the discussion we thought we would be having, because the discussion we thought we would be having now is Matt Rule going to go to Penn State? Is he going to be are we going to be living through another coaching search? Who might be Nebraska's next head coach? Well, that all got taken care of.
That seems
happily.
like years ago.
Yeah. The TJ Lateef versus Dylan Raiola thing, to me, you're right. People saw what they wanted to see out of that UCLA game. If you wanted to see incontrovertible proof that TJ Lateef was the future of Nebraska football, you saw it. You saw it with a guy that very confidently ran the Nebraska offense. You saw it with a guy who did what was required of him, started the game really hot, managed the game well, and the offense. I will say this as a Lateef skeptic. I will.
Oh, you're already. Wow, that's a courageous thing to say right now in this atmosphere.
Yep. I will say it, and I will say it unabashedly.
Wow.
I am a Lateef skeptic, but the offense seemed to have a fluidity and a consistency with him that it hasn't had in a while. Here's the caveat. Now everybody's got a game of Big Ten film of him. Full game, first quarter to fourth quarter, not facing a bunch of guys going, geez, is it really worth paying for our entire women's basketball budget by getting our brains beat in? And God, I still haven't played in front of this many people in the buildings half full, in my life. So, TJ acquitted himself very well. I will withhold a final call until the last two games are in, because look, he's faced three bad defenses. He's faced three very overmatched opponents, at least on that side of the ball. But it is very difficult to watch that Nebraska offense against UCLA and not see a little more consistency, a little more rhythm, a little more fluidity. And my question is, does that come from a simplified playbook? Does it come from, cutting things down for TJ Lateef? Or is it just something that TJ Lateef uniquely brings to the table? All questions to be answered in these next two games. I am willing. I will say this. I have come out as a Lateef skeptic.
Courageous.
Yes. But it's a discussion I'm at least willing to entertain in a way that I was not 2 weeks ago. I mean, you talked about it, how dismissive some people were about, TJ Lateef can bring something to the. I have had a running text conversation for 3 months. I have a friend who has fallen in love with TJ Lateef in a way that brings to mind Mike Ditka and Ricky Williams in the wedding dress, and it is an infatuation that kind of worries me, and maybe should worry his wife more than
wow.
That. But at any rate, so maybe part of my steadfastness toward Dylan is just because for the last 2 months I've been on this side. But there was a lot right about what TJ Lateef did last Saturday in Los Angeles. That was a really crappy UCLA defense.
Dang! Oh wow! Nate's starting off the show with some fire today. But you know what?
He's right.
Wow. Wow.
He is absolutely right.
Wow, what a downer of a
No, it is not.
right now.
It is not a downer.
No.
It is not a downer. It is fact. I have cited and will continue to cite Kelly Ford, kfordratings.com, when it comes to, certain things. And it is fact that on his analytics site, the worst defense, obviously, is Houston Christian. They don't even rank because they're not in the FBS. The next worst defense that Nebraska has played is Akron. Akron, as of earlier this week, I got here late. I apologize. I don't have my computer open, but they were in the upper 80s in the country on kfordratings.com. On their defensive, this is defensive rankings. Thank you, Jack. Go to Power, click on Power, and then scroll down, and you'll get to his full. That's his. Keep going. Yeah, he's got a lot of stuff on here. As defensive, offensive, defensive,
top 30.
Right here.
There it is. All right, defensive rating.
Akron is currently. These are updated numbers. The 91st ranked defense in the country. The rating is 31. He does a 0 to 100 scale. 50 is considered FBS average. So that is a fairly well below average defense. The next weakest defense that Nebraska has played this year is right above them, Michigan State. That was obviously a Dillon game. They have the same rating as Akron. 2 spots up from Michigan State is UCLA, 88th. The next nearest ranked defense that Nebraska has faced this year, you have to climb up the standings. And I believe, Jack, and you can verify, there's Cincinnati at 57, 57th, with an above average 59.8 grade. Again, 50 is average, 59.8 grade on defense. The next up in terms of next toughest, or I guess weakest, would be USC at 48th with a rating of 70.9. So when Nate says he has played 3 bad defenses and less than a half against USC, that is true. That is absolutely true. So going back to what you said, Jack, to start the show, you're gonna withhold judgment until after we see these next 2 games. Because if you look, again, citing K-Ford, Penn State is currently the 37th rated defense, 74.4. And look at where Iowa is. Number 6.
Yeah.
In the words of Matt Rule, that is an elite defense with a 96.3 grade, which is less than 3 points off of Ohio State, which is the number 1 ranked defense according to Kelly Ford. Yeah. So, as we said, many things can be true at the same time. Has TJ Lateef been tested by the scale? Not as much as Dillon, not even close.
Right.
Did he play well? Absolutely.
Yeah.
When you miss only 2 passes all night, and one of them was on target and dropped, and the other one was just a missed screen pass, that was, just off the outstretched fingertips of the running back. It was a well-executed night. Do I think that this play caller does better with a mobile quarterback? Yep. Mm-hmm. His history has shown it. I have sat in this studio for many, many monumental events, news, sports, and weather. And what I am about to say kind of leans into the weather side. What we have here is what I am describing as a quarterback situation watch. Not a controversy. Not a controversy. A quarterback situation watch. Because you can't call anything a controversy in the traditional football sense, because, well, that doesn't happen until the off season, when we get to spring, and especially when we get to fall, where there's a tough decision to make as to who to start. That is a quarterback controversy, but we haven't gotten to that point. My prediction is we won't get to that point because, and this is why I call it a quarterback situation, once we do get past this season, especially the next 2 games, the month of December becomes a very interesting month for everybody, not just Matt Rule, for the whole country, because January 2nd through the 16th is the transfer portal window, the only transfer portal window, unless Matt Rule were to somehow be dismissed or leave his job, and then teams are allowed to open the window. But obviously that's a far-fetched idea, and that's not going to happen. So the month of December is going to be very interesting around here. A, you're going to be getting ready for a bowl game. And B, plans have already been in motion for everybody about what next year's roster is going to look like. And Matt Rule earlier this week talked about how he has the money now to do what he needs to do, to both get new players and to retain players on his roster. There will be a lot of decisions to be made, and they won't. In the past, in college football, they were usually almost exclusively made by the head coach because transfer rules were very strict. Now we've gone in the complete and total opposite direction. And so there are many other pieces and many other things at play. So that said, yes, absolutely. I'm with both of you. I agree with both of you. Let's see what happens these next 2 games when TJ Lateef plays real Big Ten defenses. Yeah. And then let's see what happens in the month of December and that early transfer portal window before we can even get to whatever might happen in the spring.
So to be clear, conditions are favorable for a controversy to develop, but it's timing.
A situation. Quarterback
situation to develop, but its timing, location, and intensity is still uncertain. There's a potential for a situation, and it's time to stay alert, be prepared to act, and have a safety plan in place. But it does not mean a situation is imminent or already occurring.
Bingo.
There you go. Yes,
bingo.
That's exactly, that's sort of the posture that I think. I mean,
I guarantee you that's the posture that's being taken right now.
Absolutely.
In the new, we haven't given it a cool nickname like Death Star yet, but the new, the second Osborne facility.
Darth Vader's not on the scene here, John.
That's true.
We're the good guys, right?
Well, yeah. I know, but I mean, they always have to have a cool, nickname for the
fortress,
multi-million-dollar facility.
Yeah,
the House of Rule. Oh wait, no, He already uses that. Kind of. But you know what I'm saying, right? Yeah. Though now obviously most of the focus is on getting the team good, getting the team right, getting ready for Penn State in a week and 1 day. And then after that, of course, Iowa. But this is why, the offices in front offices and across college football have become so bloated. It's because you've got people, Pat Stewart, for example, has a very important job. And, as the GM, he's the one that kind of monitors, he's kind of the pinpoint for the monitors. And of course, they're looking at, all right, what holes do we need to fill?
Sure.
And we've talked about it on this show.
Right.
Ja'Cory Barney's going to be an attractive candidate. Emmett, if he doesn't go pro, is going to be an attractive candidate.
Yeah.
Williams Winery. I mean,
Isaiah Hunter.
These people. The people that have eligibility and have numbers and have great tape to put out there. They're all going to be wanted, and and people, whether it's them directly or people close to them, will be contacted to say, "Hey, are you interested?" That's it's happening now.
Yep.
And it will happen with even more severity and So really, I mean, what we have is a roster situation watch, but for the purposes of this discussion, obviously we're talking quarterback.
You brought up Emmett Johnson, and that's getting kind of lost in all this.
Yeah.
Is that was a historic running back performance at a school that has had more than a few. I mean,
Yep.
and Emmett Johnson's full range of talents were on display. His elusiveness, the explosiveness that he has, that's not his strength, but it's a pitch he has. But man, even putting aside how shoddy UCLA's defense is, the screen pass where he showed all the elusiveness and all the vision and all the wiggle, the whole thing. I mean, he is such a weapon. And I think that colors this discussion too, because what makes a running quarterback look better than a running back that's really good,
Yeah.
and a running back that you need to deal with. And as we have the roster discussion of 2026, you talk about what December is going to look like at the quarterback position. It's also going to be colored by what the running back position looks like.
Yes.
And I think we're all operating under a safe assumption that Emmett Johnson's down to his last 8 quarters as a Husker. He's going to play 2 more games. He's going to declare for the draft. He's going to get drafted 3rd, 4th round. And you tip your hat to him and you wish him well. But then, if you're looking at Nebraska's offense next year, what are you able to do at the running back spot? Because you have nothing there right now that you know of.
Right.
I mean, Mekhi Nelson could develop, Isaiah Mosey could develop, but they haven't done it yet.
Yeah.
And so that opens up some questions about how much good will a running quarterback do for you. So, hey, as you look forward, John said it right. It's a roster watch. There are going to be so many decisions and so many questions about who do you keep, who do you invest in, and under which parameters. And some of it's going to be very colored by what Emmett Johnson does. Because once if Emmett Johnson leaves, you're pretty reliant on the drop back passing game, I would think.
Yeah. And especially by the way, you could just kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Emmett Johnson gone, the new running back, TJ Lateef, and everyone's happy, both in the backfield.
Yes.
Everyone's happy, right? And we're all getting along.
Yeah.
Everybody gets their NIL.
Yeah.
None of the fans have to be mad and call in the call-in shows on either of our stations. And
there is peace in our time.
By the way, real quick,
yeah,
because I just looked this up. Now it is tentative, which is weird because it's the league calendar. But the deadline for college players who are underclassmen to apply for special eligibility right now is January 14th. So it does fall in the same time frame as the transfer portal window.
Mm-hmm.
But that currently is the tentative date for underclassmen to declare
for the
NFL
for the draft. Okay. Yeah.
It
is strange that it's tentative though. Why in the world would it be tentative?
I don't know. And honestly, it might have been that way because of the transfer portal window.
Sure.
And they were waiting because remember they just recently within the last 3 weeks changed the calendar.
Well,
so I wouldn't be surprised if that date kind of holds hard and firm.
After coming in here, and you guys just really bringing down the temperature on the whole, the Lateef versus Ryan. Like I was coming in here and my big point was going to be, I'm concerned TJ Lateef is going to take Heisman votes away from Emmett Johnson. And what are we going to do about that by the end of the year? Like that's the concern I've got here.
Oh, yes.
With this whole thing. Will TJ Lateef cost Emmett his Heisman? Assuming they're both in New York. But aside from that, but I still think there's a bigger discussion here to be had too about the fact. Listen, as is always the case, it's cliche, but it's true. Too much blame, too much praise on the quarterback for what happens all over the place.
Mm-hmm.
And of course it has impact, but for some reason, this offense really until this UCLA game to some degree, it's not worked like it should. You know what I mean? Let me say it a different way. It
hasn't worked as it is hoped.
Yeah.
Like it was hoped to. Holgerson was supposed to wave a magic wand over this thing.
Well, listen, here the result has been less than the sum of its parts, is what I would say, in terms of the talent that you've got. And we've talked about it. And this is acknowledging that there were difficulties keeping the quarterback upright, but like at some point I mean, they've made adjustments where that hasn't happened the last several games, right? Like, but what the first half of that game, I remember saying, and again, the defense played into it, I'm sure. That said, even with that, they played other defenses that were, not world beaters. Something looked so much more efficient and smooth and smart and playing to its talents before, and I'm the quarterback is obviously part of it, but I don't think that's all. Like I mean,
they scored on their first 4 meaningful drives. You take out the kneel down at the end of the first half. They scored a touchdown on their first 4 drives. You can't get any more efficient than that, right? Can't.
Yeah.
So, you're right. It looked different. It looked better.
Yeah.
It was certainly tailored to the skill set of the quarterback. There were not was there any air targets more than 10 yards down the field beyond the line of scrimmage? I don't think so. There weren't any deep shots, and I could put in my keys to the game. I'd like to see a couple of deep shots, because I assumed that UCLA was just going to stack the heck out of the box and dare Nebraska to throw the ball. When Nebraska did throw the ball, albeit, what was it? He was 14 of 16?
Yeah.
Albeit only 16 times, but they were all, I would call, short, intermediate to short throws. All of them.
Yes. What was me personally during the Minnesota game? I am yelling, get the quarterback on the run outside of the pocket. Do some quick timing throws. Do some drag routes. Don't try and throw deep all the time. It is like
we've been saying that with Dylan too.
That's what I said against Minnesota.
Yes,
they ran that offense that I was I was saying, man, I think this is what they've got to do if the offensive line is going to have and give the ball to Emmett Johnson more and get it in his hands more.
And he carried it 29 times.
Not
counting the pass.
Again, yes, the defense played into it, but man, they ran a completely different offense than they did when they were struggling.
Yeah,
right?
And you wonder if Dylan has suffered some paralysis by analysis. It's almost a certainty, I think, that he's had such. It feels like they've given him pro quarterback level control of the offense. You can check into whatever you want. You've got 4 receivers every play. We're not going to roll you out to where we cut it down to just 2 receivers, essentially. We're going to give you essentially pro quarterback level controls, because that's where your skills are best, and that's where we feel like you can win. And to the extent that some of the sacks have been caused because the offensive linemen flat out whiffed. The offensive tackles just got their butts beat. But there are sacks on the ledger where Dylan Raiola held on to the ball too long, where he waited too long. Yeah. And while some of that maybe just not getting the ball out, some of it's overthinking it. And so you wonder, the idea of sitting a guy down for a little while, I've always underrated the value of that. But you wonder if Dylan's going to sit back and watch the next 3 games, the two regular season games and the bowl game, and if he's going to sit back and wonder and try to simplify, or maybe ask for a simplified picture. Yeah. Because it just feels that I think that's where the inefficiency is coming in. That's my hypothesis. Could be totally wrong. Could be totally what, but I just think that Dylan has been guilty of overthinking things, and that's what's left this offense kind of sputtering. And the Minnesota game was sort of the case study for that, both from his standpoint and the offensive standpoint. Right. because Dana Holgerson thought, hey, we can win a bunch of downfield stuff, when the game plan should have been 25 Emmett Johnson runs and see what else you do.
We got to take a break. But my thing, again, over the last several years, when the Nebraska offense hasn't been what Nebraska fans have wanted to be, and I think they've rightfully asked for these things, right? A deep set of wide receivers where they're not missing in the transfer portal and there are multiple options. They asked for a running back that's a bell cow running back. They've asked for quarterback depth, right? They've asked for a tight end that is capable. They've asked for an offensive coordinator that has a resume.
They've been looking for tackles.
Tackle all of the issues. And it doesn't mean it's perfect, but man, it is crazy how many things are there this year that haven't, again, it has not added up to the sum of its parts for whatever reason. And it was close to that this time. Was that because of TJ Lateef? Was that because of the defense? Was that because of changing the way that the plays were called? Because frankly, we saw a little bit of the shift in play calling Northwestern and USC too. Yeah, to be honest. So yes, that I think that's part of it too. That Minnesota game is, man, that is going to be an all-time. How did that happen? Situation. It is going to be
between
an
the
all
ears.
Time. How did that
between
happen?
the ears?
Both ways.
Because imagine
Both
right
ways.
now if you have that and what this season looks like now. That's already going to be an improvement. But
certainly.
All right, let's take a break. 6:37. We'll take a listen to some of the clips that we got in the sound off. Lively discussion in the first half hour. Here we go. All right, more coming up. You've got to tune to the Friday Husker Tailgate on KLIN.
Morning, Art.
All the games, none of the subscriptions. Lincoln's Husker Radio, 1499.3 KLIN. Welcome back to the Friday Husker Tailgate. But first, your Fantasy Huskers keyword, presented by Nebraska Sign Company from Lincoln's Husker Radio, 1499.3.
Oh, arguably, I don't know. You guys are the ones that play the game, not me. Arguably, the idle weeks are maybe the most fun, at least to watch the picks come in during the course of the week. because we're doing the same thing this Idle Week that we did last Idle Week, which is allow you to cosplay as a fan of another team for 1 week. It's like Halloween or a dress up party, right? For you, some kind of a role play deal, right? And so you get to pick a top 20, not 25, top 20 team to back this week. And then you go back to your original love, go back to the Huskers. And we are looking for you to pick the team that scores the most points this week. Very simple calculus, okay? Very simple. It's just the offense that scored or just total points scored during the course of the game. All right, so let's go over what's been picked, and let's see if Nate and John and I can maybe give a little advice here for the final 2 picks of the day. Pick number 1 was Corey. He picked Texas Tech. They are going up against hold on, I'm pulling this up now. They're going to get Scott Frost in Central Florida. Yes.
Yeah.
Shelly picked Alabama going up against Oklahoma. Angie picking. We have looked so disapprovingly on Shelly's pick, and now Alabama.
Sorry, Shelly.
Watch Alabama put up 60. I hope for Shelly they do. I love Alabama. Such a nice, underrated team. Angie had Ohio State.
Yeah.
Going up against UCLA.
Yeah, pretty good chance there.
After what John said there and the K-Ford ratings.
Well, okay, so I've pulled up another one of my favorites, Parker Fleming. So, and they do all these projected
They do the actual
scores.
projected
Yeah,
score?
Ohio State so far I've seen as the highest projected. Well, not the highest. Sorry.
Well,
Keep going.
Lewis picked Ole Miss, and they're going against Florida.
That's a good pick.
K picked Texas A&M. They're going against South Carolina.
That's a good pick.
Ike picked Georgia Tech. They're going against Boston College. That could be a sneaky good one there.
That's
Ike,
reasonably good.
Yes, it is, according to this computer projection. Yes, it's a good pick.
That's a value pick at number 6
That's
by
a good
Ike.
one.
Yeah.
Sean went with Indiana against Wisconsin.
Good
Sean got
answer.
that pick, and he's like, Indiana's still on the board? Are you kidding me?
Yep.
Against Wisconsin?
Yep, that's a good pick because you know that Kurt Signetti is probably really mad that they actually got tested last week.
Gosh.
And, you know, he is not afraid to run up the score. That's probably your winner. I hate to say it.
Oh, yeah.
There's a very good chance that's your winner, though. Now that Luke Fickell is locked in, you saw how inspired they were last week against Washington. And they never lose again.
Signetti's going to try and pull a Millard South in that game. Jeff P has Notre Dame. They are going to be at Pittsburgh.
That's a modestly.
It's okay.
All right.
I mean,
Pitt's ranked.
So here's John and Nate. We've got left on the board, and I'm just going to eyeball it here. We got Georgia. You could pick. They have Texas. You have got.
I would not go with that one.
You could still take Oregon against Minnesota. Oregon.
That would be Oregon
at
would
home
be
tonight, I believe.
Yes. Oregon might be a very good pick.
You could take Oklahoma against Alabama. I don't think I would do that. Or Texas against Georgia. I wouldn't take either of those. BYU at home against TCU, maybe. If it were 2011 in the Big 12?
Well, I was thinking, what if it was 1985?
1985, yes.
That's
true.
Robbie Bosco at quarterback.
How about this one? Utah at Baylor. Baylor, not a big defense team.
Yeah.
That's a good pick.
That's a pretty good pick.
Utah against
That
Baylor.
is a good. I'm just going to say that is a good pick.
Miami versus North Carolina State at home for Miami. Maybe
That's a decent pick.
Here is, I think, the one that if you had any guts, you would take. USC against Iowa. Yeah, do it. Do it.
No.
Oh, who's been right about Iowa games most recently?
They covered. They covered.
Michigan at Northwestern.
Nope.
Hang on,
Michigan fans aren't that happy with their expensive freshman quarterback.
There are better picks on the board. The Utah pick right now is a good. Is my favorite.
Last two, Virginia at Duke.
Nope.
Is Danny Keelan the quarterback of Virginia now? Is that right? Is he?
I thought it was one of the brothers, the running backs. I don't know.
Maybe. And then last but not least,
Tiki Barber.
Yes, that's who it is. Tiki Barber. That's right.
No,
that's my only Virginia reference.
And Louisville is taking on Clemson tonight as well, and I would not do that. So
I would say this: if you want my advice, Utah.
Yeah, I'd concur.
Utah at Baylor.
Utah's not bad. Or Utah and Oregon. My two.
All right.
I've got too much PJ Fleck PST or PTSD.
PTSD.
Yeah.
No, I wouldn't
Fair
sleep also on Texas A&M though against South
Oh,
Carolina.
A&M's not been picked?
Yeah, no, A&M and South Carolina. That was one of the first ones I said. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
They're in the mix.
But you don't know.
A&M might be in style point. We thought that style points were done. They are not done.
No, and they would like to probably get in. They'd like to get Nebraska would like to get Emmett Johnson in there. They'd like to get Marcel Reed in the Heisman, a little bit higher in the Heisman race too.
Yeah.
All right. So there you go.
Did you say Tennessee?
They are 23. We only did the top 20. That's why.
Okay.
On purpose, I excluded Tennessee.
Oh, because they're taking on New Mexico State.
Because they are going to score.
Let me just put it to you this way: on the projections that I have been citing, Utah is projected to have more points than Tennessee.
Oh, wow.
Take that for what
Maybe
it's
I
worth.
should have done the full top 25.
How much more rope does Dave Aranda have at Baylor?
That's a good question.
I mean, they just ran off the
last year. He
director,
almost. They made a comeback at the end of the year last year to probably
Baylor's
save his
record?
job.
I think they're 5-4.
While you guys are looking at that, people are like, Jack, tell me the stupid keyword so I can put my phone down. It's trip, TRIP, trip. There you go, trip. Text that into the Hunting Irrigation text line, 402-479-1400. We may text you back and say, make a pick, whoever you want, but we've given you your advice. Dave Aranda.
Yeah, they need one more win to make a bowl.
Okay.
How interesting. Right. Is there a Big 10, Big 12 bowl tie? Is there a chance that Matt Rule could see his former school?
The Rate Bowl, I believe.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, that's right, because there were some rumors that Nebraska would go play K-State there last year.
I saw one projection last week had Baylor.
Well,
Nebraska and Baylor.
I mean, I've literally just spent the last segment talking about how good Utah of a pick Utah is, and of course they're playing Baylor.
Yeah. All right, Nate. Sorry, we've spent so much time on the first segment. I didn't give you much time for your sound clip. So give us a couple of them here that were interesting to you this week.
Well, let's start with the Emmett Johnson sermon from the preacher's son, huh? Coach Rule talking about Emmett Johnson and all the record-breaking accomplishments.
I personally believe Emmett Johnson should be in New York for I think he should be a Heisman candidate. I think he should be a Doak Walker finalist, if not winner. And I think what he's doing is, fantastic. I hope people appreciate seeing him. He's a first-team All-American. And I don't know who's the last person that was first-team All-American was since 2011, Lavonte David. And so, just a couple highlights, because hopefully our social media people will match it up and they can go. But, he leads the nation in yards from scrimmage with 1,431 yards from scrimmage in 10 games. Ranks second in the FBS in total rushing yards and fifth in yards per game. Leads the nation by accounting for 37% of his team's total yards. Among power conference players, he's number one at 37.1. Jeremiah Love, another great player at Notre Dame, is second at 29.6. Emmett is one of only three players in the FBS with at least 10 rushing touchdowns and 3 receiving touchdowns. Only running back in power conference play with 4 100-yard rushing games in conference play. 2 pages, that's how good he is. Most rushing yards for the Huskers since the Doak Walker Award finalist Amir Abdullah in 2014. Most touchdowns for a Nebraska player since Amir Abdullah had 22 touchdowns in 2014. Emmett became the first player in Big Ten since at least 1995 to have more than 125 rushing yards, more than 100 receiving yards, a rushing touchdown, and 2 receiving touchdowns in the same game. Wow. First player in Nebraska history to have 100 rushing yards and 100 receiving yards in a game. He'll win a bunch of awards this week, and we haven't been able to announce them yet. But really, really proud of Emmett, his character.
So, this is, and maybe the listing of accomplishments wasn't the most interesting part, but just the idea, I cannot remember a Nebraska football coach this overtly calling for a player to be honored, trying to raise a player's profile. Some of it is Tom Osborne's way was.
Wait, Tom Osborne didn't do that with Mike Rozier, John?
Not that I recall.
He's pretty good. He gets us in the right play.
Maybe he needed a little bit of that in 1995.
Yeah, maybe.
You know what?
Yeah, there could be another Heisman. But it was
a little campaign practice would have been good. I'm sorry.
Hey,
wow.
Yeah.
Oh, man. That's my second governor taking a week.
Good.
How about
that?
wow.
Yeah.
That's twice.
Woo. But no, it was just and frankly warranted. And as you've looked at the arc of Emmett Johnson's career,
100%. Yeah.
you look at him. He was one of 4 possible starters this time last year, or maybe not this time, but at the beginning of last year. And he's just kind of flown under the radar and gotten better and gotten better and gotten better. And all of a sudden, he's about as good a running back as there is in college football. And Coach Rule, we don't have the cut, but Coach Rule mentioned that so much of how we perceive and understand college football is built on preseason rankings and watch lists and who we thought would be good coming into the season. It's a natural product of a 130 some odd team big league essentially. And I think Matt Rule's trying to push him out into the spotlight because he deserves it. And if he doesn't, I don't know that he'll get it.
Yeah.
He'll get some votes, but all I would say is nice try, Coach. Running backs,
and he knows
running
that,
backs,
by the way.
Right.
Running backs have to be incredible, like record-setting.
Yes.
In order to win the modern day Heisman.
It's so uphill for running backs.
Ashton Genty rushed for 2,600 yards and 29 touchdowns and finished second. The year before, Ollie Gordon of Oklahoma State had 1,700 yards and 21 touchdowns and finished seventh. Yeah. The year before that, the top running back was Blake Corum at Michigan, 1,400 yards, 6-yard per carry average, 18 touchdowns, but obviously got a kiss because he was playing for the eventual national champions.
Mm-hmm.
The year before that, the top running back was Breece Hall at Iowa State, and he got 5 second and 7 third place votes. My overall point is this. There may be a few folks, and maybe they're Heisman voters from Nebraska, who will ceremoniously put Emmett on their ballot. But that'll be it.
Yes.
This is not running backs. I'm sorry, just don't win the Heisman anymore. This has become a quarterback 80%, wide receiver 19%, everybody else 1% award. And no one should know that better than the folks here, because the last legitimate Heisman candidate that Nebraska had was Ndamukong Suh. So, I mean, listen, you should be touting him.
Yeah.
You should be celebrating.
He knows
him.
everything you just said, though. Like,
But-
he knows all that.
But yeah, he's not going to New York.
Rule knows all that. I mean,
Here's the thing, like, isn't this an aspect of shooting for the moon and trying to land on the roof from the standpoint of, he's talking, hey, he should be a Heisman candidate, and Rule knows that the math's not there for him to be a Heisman winner, but he should be an All-American and maybe a first-teamer.
Yep.
He should be Big Ten running back of the year.
Right.
He should be a Doak Walker finalist at least, and at
arguably winner.
a coin flip, for winners. So
yes.
I maybe Rule's overstating it. Maybe he's like you said, Emmett Johnson's not going to get the votes to go to New York City.
Yeah. No, yeah. And then, I'm sure Rule knows that.
Sure.
And I think, listen, I think it's smart to go out there and publicly support the play. That's a recruiting tool as much as anything, right? Look at this guy go to bat. Look at this guy go to bat for his player, right? And look at the whole place. At the basketball game the other night, like
the entire
they've got a graphic ready for it. They've got the T-shirts. They've got all of it ready to go, And so they've listen, and it's right. And here's it is crazy though. This year, as you read those numbers, this year is a down year for running backs. I didn't even realize.
Well, yes.
Can you?
Of course, anything was going to be a down year compared to what Genty did last year.
That's right.
But,
Can you imagine if Emmett Johnson still had 1,500 yards to go? That's what Ashton Genty did last year.
Yeah.
That's insane.
Yeah.
How did he not win the Heisman now? Travis Hunter.
Well, Travis Hunter. And of course, and you might say, well, Travis Hunter didn't have the big stats, and that's true. There's a certain level of hype that goes with it as well. And that hype for Travis Hunter started 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right? Because he was a two-way player. and he played both ends at a very, very high level. So but again,
hey, and by the way, and also the other thing, it's not recruiting how you treat them, but it's also saying, hey, we might need a running back next year.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Or
certainly,
because
listen,
running back. This is how we treat running backs.
This is what running backs here can be in the Heisman conversation.
And not to turn this thing back around to what we talked about in the first segment, but it's about exterior hype and getting things like Heisman votes or All-American votes, All-American nominations, Doak Walker awards, or quarterbacks being picked in the NFL draft. Those are good things for your program to help support and tout your program.
Those are things that are happening when you start to be where you want to be.
Correct.
Right? And so I think,
I don't think there's anything wrong.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And hopefully he rips off 2 good games and does get those honors that you talked about, Nate, because he deserves them and he's easy to cheer for. Incredibly easy to cheer for. All right, let's take a break. 6:56 is in the Friday Husker Tailgate on KLIN.
Huskers, home and away. Now streaming live on the KLIN app and at KLIN.
Takes a snap, fade route, back run to the end zone. Touchdown, Huskers! Isaiah Hunter for the Husker touchdown.
Who do you think you're fooling? Nobody's thinking about their job the day before a Husker game.
Backpedals the throw, blitz picked up. Harris went out deep right sideline. 50-50 ball. It's picked off. The black shirts with the dagger. Malcolm Hartzog with a giant pick. Sails the night for the Big Red. Drifts back to throw, dumps it to an underneath crosser. Goody made the catch, got popped. Ball's loose, but they say incomplete.
This is the Friday Husker Tailgate with Jack Mitchell, Nate Rohr, John Bishop, and Kevin Suits on Lincoln's Husker Radio, 1499.3 KLIN.
All right, welcome back to the Friday Husker Tailgate. No game this weekend, but that's all right. That's all right. We're coming off a win. No week off for the Friday Husker Tailgate. Coming off a win, getting ready for these, the last two games of the year. And obviously, if you were listening to the first hour, you know there is plenty to discuss, and we will continue to do that throughout the course of the show today. But we got into a little bit of the UCLA game in terms of the quarterback situation and the offense, but let's delve into it a little bit more after this win for Nebraska against UCLA and give out some helmet stickers. Now,
can I make a prediction?
Yeah, please.
Well, first, a question
for
the historian of the show.
Yes.
Has there ever been a clean sweep of all three spots? In other words, did the same three helmet stickers go from every member of the cast?
I don't think so. I don't think so. It's not going to happen today because I was kind of off the wall with mine.
What? I mean, there are two obvious ones, and then I think there could be a third.
I was trying to be, I don't know. I was trying to be alternative.
Oh, you're trying to, we just spent the whole off hour here talking about alternate uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
And here Jack is going to go Broncos 1997 on us while the rest of us are wanting to stick with the Orange Crush.
I'm doing the obvious one, but anyway, we'll get to it. By the way, the standings right now, speaking of unanimity, Emma Johnson way out in front of the field. I don't know why Matt Rule did not mention in his press conference when he was going through the accolades of Emma Johnson, saying he's almost doubled up the helmet sticker lead now. Great front point. In helmet stickers on my favorite radio show.
Yep.
He's well in first place with a lead we've never seen on this show.
It's crazy.
Like, I don't even know if we didn't have helmet stickers when Ndamukong Suh was around, I don't think, John. I think these were a later invention.
Yeah, this was an invention after I left. So
exactly. So Emma Johnson has 15. Isaiah Hunter has 8. Javen Wright has 8. Ja'Cory Barney has 7. Dylan Raiola will end the season at 6. Sierra Wright has 5. Archie has 4, and then the always weird Quentin Ives having 3. But by the way, what happened to him?
My goodness.
Has he had a carry since Houston Christian?
Yeah, it's disappeared.
What
game was that even from? Was
Houston
that
Christian?
Oh, yeah.
When we all gave him.
Didn't he get like a goal line touchdown or something like that? Or I don't know.
He did in the bowl game last year. I don't know if he's had a carry since Houston Christian. I don't think he's had.
I thought I gave one of mine from the Houston Christian game to the CVS pharmacy. Across the street from their stadium.
You might have.
I did not.
You might have, but you did get one to Ives too.
CVS pharmacy.
I did.
Okay.
Tylenol.
All right. So, well, I will go last today since I clearly am going a different direction.
I can't wait to hear this.
Listen, I'll agree with. I'll do the first one, and I'll agree with that. Okay. Do the first one. Give it to Emmett. Give it to him. Just do it. Go ahead.
Hey,
Emmett. Me too. I got one for Emmett. All right.
That was
he real good.
That was a Roger Craig game.
Oh.
Not Roger Craig, Nebraska.
Oh.
Roger Craig,
Good
San Francisco
call.
49ers.
My favorite team at the time.
Oh, you scumbag.
Rathman, Craig had the Huskers on their helmet.
Yeah, it was gross.
For you,
it was gross.
Young ones.
It was gross that they would put the Husker name on the front of those ugly, terrible, rotten, nasty, gnarly, ugly helmets. By the way, Rams 42, 49ers 26. Take that.
By the way, the 49ers home unis might be the best in the league.
Yeah.
I mean, they do look good.
There was another team that did that stupid thing in the 90s with their uniforms
They did.
with the shadows.
They did. Anyway, it's a Roger Craig 49er game because 100 yards rushing, 100 yards receiving, never been done before.
Great call.
Never been done before in the history of Nebraska football. No, Marlon Lucky did not do it. He had many chances. I wonder what Marlon's closest game was to a 100-100. But Emmett was the guy that did it. I can't say anymore. He's good. He's good. He's good. I'll give you, I talked last week about comps. I'm going to give you a comp here. And I don't know if it's a fair one, but because I am a Rams fan, he is a guy who is going to kind of fit like Kyron Williams fits. Kyron Williams is the Rams starting running back. Not great top end speed, but tough between the tackles, can be elusive, can catch the ball out of the backfield. And I think Emmett is more elusive. He might, I don't know, I don't remember what Kyron's 40 time was, but he might be a little quicker, and he doesn't fumble like Kyron does.
Yeah, that's one thing
that's another, we haven't talked about that enough. He does not fumble. He's had one fumble this whole season. Think about that. For a guy who carries the ball or has started to carry the ball an awful lot and has been the absolute unequivocal bell cow of the running back room, he has a single fumble this season.
Oh, yes.
That is, I mean, if you don't think that won't get the attention of the scouts, you are crazy. But yeah, Emmett Johnson, historic game.
I will. I mean,
Sure you're not going to go off the beaten path?
No, I'm taking Emmett. I didn't say wasn't going to do all three. Was the difference? I don't know. What did you? I heard the comp last week that I think Holgerson made. They talked about on the broadcast was the Christian McCaffrey one too.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a pretty good stylistic comparison.
Well, it probably is. Yeah, Kyron doesn't carry the ball as much or doesn't receive as much out of the backfield. So yeah, in terms of how he can be used, yes. Now, when you're comparing to Christian McCaffrey, that's really elite level. I mean, he is quicker. He is faster, probably stronger. But in terms of how you can use him, yes, that is a fair comp.
Yeah, I don't know. I am still kind of floored, guys, about what exactly has happened in it's been a great year for Emmett Johnson. It's been an insane month for Emmett Johnson.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
The numbers have been really good all year. The eye test has taken it to a brand new level. Again, I think starting about the second half of the Michigan State game.
Yeah.
Right? That at some point there, all of a sudden he has been a new whatever to his game at that point. And I don't even and the best comp I heard of this is I was on one of the podcasts I do. I talked to Dirk Chatlin this week, and he said the only thing I can think of where you went through most of his career as either a good, average, slightly above average, however you want to describe the rest of his career. I mean, it wasn't all conference, right? I don't even know if he was an honorable mention all conference at any point before this. And then all of a sudden you just blow up your final year was Ndamukong Suh, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's maybe the comp in terms of all of the sudden just development, right? And it all pays off. Man, talk about a lesson in waiting and developing and all of these
and
things.
Who got a lot of the credit, or not a lot, but who got a good share of credit?
Well, Bo eventually came in.
Bo Pelini
right.
did. Well, the rise of Emmett Johnson has also coincided with the arrival of Dana Holgerson. Now, part of it too is, they haven't had a great running back room behind it. So you were like, hey, but remember they were starting to talk up Emmett at the end of last season. And I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall in the room when the conversation was had, because remember, Emmett was in the portal temporarily.
Yeah.
And something tells me that there were words exchanged regarding how I see you in this offense, how you can be used in this offense, how we can flash all of your skills in the offense, and voila, look at where we are. But yeah, if you look at the game log, it's been increasing for 3 weeks now. Of course, Minnesota was bad, but Maryland 196 yards from scrimmage.
Mm-hmm.
Then Minnesota took a huge dip. Northwestern 139, USC 180, UCLA 232.
Yeah.
Yeah, you wonder if it's just usage, reps, building confidence. He's developed himself.
It's all of it.
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything because, I mean, you talk about Dana Holgorsen changing the outlook on Emmett Johnson. And there was a good amount of that was just Dana Holgorsen saying, you're my guy, and whether or not that was the difference for Emmett Johnson sure didn't hurt. And I think it gave him a little extra juice to go out and work. He's physically developed. I think his vision has come a long, long way because it felt last year like sometimes he would run into a pile and there was a lot of real estate the other way. He's finding that real estate this year. And so you put that with his durability and with the fact that he doesn't fumble. I mean, the great curse of this program, people offhandedly talk about the curse of Nebraska football the last decade. At least until last year, the curse of Nebraska football was they fumbled all the time and usually didn't get it back. And they have cut that down in a big way because the primary guy driving the offense protects the football and does a good job of it.
Does a great job of it.
Yeah.
But, by the way, guys, I think I found the best comp. About 200 pounds, not elite 4.48. I think I had read that Emmett ran a 4.48 when he came here. And good at catching out of the backfield, not necessarily bringing huge runs. How about Austin Eckler?
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah.
That's a comp.
By that.
Yeah.
I like that. Plus, Austin Eckler, born in Lincoln, Nebraska, I believe, as well.
He was?
Yeah, I believe so. I
think you're right.
Tell you something about that. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay.
Off the air.
All right.
All
right.
But in any case,
piqued my interest.
In any case, yes, everything. I mean, echo everything you guys said. Really good.
Fans, what I'm doing
point,
here is
Nate,
I'm filibustering so Jack doesn't get in that weird pick of some.
to your point, Nate, I agree with your your vision. Other thing I noticed about him too is he has turned. One of the things he did, I think, sometimes that made him a little less effective was did a little kind of the dancing around, waiting to see, waiting for a moment. He has changed that dancing, that lateral movement, instead of it being unproductive in the background and just kind of waiting to something that he uses to gain
yardage.
That is the thing that he does is his quick lateral movement and avoidance of tackles with these moves that he's got. That's I think if I had to define what he's done so well.
Yeah, go back to the Northwestern game where he avoided a couple of big losses with the ability to avoid while still going north and south, and then also
that's exactly right. Yeah, that's exactly the way I would define him. And it is, I don't know. I don't know how many passes he's caught this year either. I mean, he was featured as a receiver. I mean, he had the big plays as a receiver this week, right? Like, that's something that we've seen him catch balls out of the backfield, but I almost wish they'd used him, more on plays like, run some more screen passes to him this year, to be honest. Like, imagine that against Minnesota, right? I mean, would have loved to have seen that. Like, he doesn't have nearly as many. You talked about the yards in the game. Doesn't have nearly as many catches as a Marlon Lucky had out of the backfield.
Oh no! I mean, he got his 103 on 3 catches.
Yeah, I mean,
which is his second lowest of the year. I mean, he's had several 2-catch games. Of course, Cincinnati, it started with 7, and that's when the concern started to build up. Oh, we got to pump the brakes here.
Yeah,
he's only had 3 games since where he's had 5 or 6 catches in a game.
36 in total for him.
I mean,
but
so it's not overly used,
right? And we did have those usage concerns against Cincinnati, but guess what? Like we said, he probably has 8 quarters left with an N on the side of his helmet. You can run him and throw it to him, and whatever you want, as much as you want the next 2 weeks, because he'll want to spend it.
There you go. All right. John, who do you have? I'm gonna go last, so I'll go John, then Nate, and then me. So who's the obvious ones?
TJ Lateef.
All right, do you have TJ Lateef?
Oh boy, I fought it, but yeah.
No offense to the TJ Lateef people.
Whoa!
But,
All right, we've got a self-admitted Lateef denier.
Yes.
And now you're going to deny him his justly earned helmet sticker?
You just basically told me he was going up against a Pop Warner defense, so I don't even feel like I can do it now.
Well, so was Emmett.
Well,
same defense. It's not like he got to see a different. It's like he didn't get to see a different pitcher than Ohtani did. They both say.
I've had enough people already tell me I told you so this week. I don't think I can
take
any more.
We were more hardcore on our show that no, you don't bring in a freshman quarterback like that. And yet, I think I've heard from one person all week. Maybe I blocked all the others. I don't know. But I haven't heard much. I told you so.
You haven't? Oh, man.
We did a call-in show right after the game. I literally invited people. I said, this for the Teefies is your moment.
You didn't have anybody spiking the ball?
One person.
Huh. Interesting.
And it wasn't even a spike. It was like if Barry Sanders smiled and hugged his teammate and then handed the ball over to the referee. It wasn't even a spike.
All right. Well, all right. Anything you guys want to say about TJ Lateef that we haven't said before already?
I'll just say he ran the offense with conviction and poise uncommon for a true freshman.
He was, I mean, I look at accuracy, right? And again, were there any really long downfield targets? No. But on the targets he did have, he was on time on target. If you're going to run timing routes, you got to put it where the ball's supposed to be. Otherwise, the timing is off. The timing was not off. He was on time, on target with the throws he was asked to make. And I thought it was a subtly great move on the first play of the game for him to keep the football.
Oh, yes.
And immediately get, 11, 12-yard gain.
I agree.
Because it just put that
in the head
right in their
away.
head right from the very jump. This dude can run. Even though I'm sure UCLA drilled it and saw it on film all week, this guy's different from the other dude. He'll pull the ball and run. But what did they do? They pulled the ball and ran. It gained first down, and it set the tone for the rest of the game.
They put it in my head, too, because I told Nate last week 10-plus carries for TJ Lateef, and they did it on the first play, and I was like, oh, my gosh, Nate's going to be wrong by the first quarter at this rate.
Yeah.
And then they barely did it again the rest of the game.
Right, and that just goes to show, and that might be a lesson, whoever quarterbacks, that, look, Dylan Raiola has had a reluctance to run. I think we can all stipulate to that. But it doesn't take running him 10 times to set it in his head. 5 times. Yeah.
That's a good point.
If you'd have told me 5 times, I would have been shocked. Because I thought it would push. I thought it would push 10.
Yeah, Nate said it would be low last week. You were right.
I also figured the snap count would be low, and that's kind of it, too. I mean, if you're going to give touches, you're giving touches to Emmett Johnson.
All right, I will give my second one on the offense, 2 for the second time this year to Uncle Don's boys, the offensive line.
Okay.
Now, again, this is sort of no, sacks have not been an issue again, and Lateef's mobile, but it's been 3 games in a row right now where the sacks have not been a significant issue just like under.
Yep.
But that's not the play that, and Emmett Johnson rightfully so deserves all the credit. But I want to shout out Justin Evans and Rocco Spindler absolutely mauling people.
I like it.
60 yards downfield on that first touchdown.
I take back my harsh
Emmett
assessment
Johnson.
of where
Those
your helmet
two
stickers
guys,
were going.
that was the most that was one of the most impressive offensive line plays that I've seen in terms of hustle and effort and overpowering and all of it.
And there were great blocks by the receivers on that play too. I mean, that was an 11-man play right there.
But Evans and Smith, if you have not watched them on that play, watch it and watch 51 and 50 downfield, and each of them, their combined body count on that play was about 7.
Wasn't that a Van Halen album, 5150?
5150, yes, there you go. 6'7", it's the I don't know why I did that.
I don't know either. No,
sorry.
That's a great point because the offensive line obviously had something to do with it, and you're right. That play was it was
Oh,
a great play.
I mean, chicken soup for the offensive line coach's soul.
And I know we don't hear from Donovan very much. He doesn't.
He was on Sports Nightly this week.
He's definitely not Mike Eckler when it comes to sideline behavior. But I'm thinking that when that play was shown back in film session, that there was some emotion in that room, because that's how it's supposed to be done. That's how it's supposed to be done.
Yes. Absolutely. Because he had about a 2.5 foot path.
Right.
Emmett
yeah.
On the sideline.
He's dancing down. I thought he was out of bounds. I said, no, he didn't break that.
The whole time I was afraid he was going to go. But those guys basically just like swatted people off the whole way down or in front. I mean, it was beautiful.
They created a seal here and a seal here.
Right.
And they ran that play in the alley.
That blocking was offensive line art and way down the field. Athletic, too. With the whole thing.
You're not exaggerating. It was 60 yards down the field.
Yeah. All right. Next one, Nate.
I'm going to go a little off the board here. Isaiah Hunter. Not so much for what he did receiving wise, and maybe this is sort of a season achievement award, but the blocking downfield. The coaches shouted out, and Rule mentioned this in the news conference, that Nebraska's perimeter blocking, which was an issue last year, is not this year. I think Isaiah Hunter's
100%
tip of the spear on that. So
100%.
I might be a little off the grid comparatively, but I think he deserves a little love.
Let me add a couple of things to that real quick. I remember last year before Holgorsen came in. Do you remember? I remember the Wisconsin game, right? And all of a sudden he switched the tight end that he was playing in that game to Luke Lindenmeyer. And that was about the time everyone was talking about the downfield blocking, wide receivers and tight ends as well. And that is something that has significantly changed since, for whatever reason, personnel, offensive coordinator, but that's been a strength this year that it just hadn't been in previous years. The other thing is, kudos, man, that Isaiah Hunter, we talked about Dane Key and all offseason, and not to diminish anything he's done. I think they haven't gotten him the ball as much as they'd like to. Isaiah Hunter has been a hit in terms of a transfer this year.
Yes, he has.
The other thing is, he's got more years.
He's got 2 years left.
Him.
He's one of those guys that Matt Rule's got the extra money for.
That was a huge hit.
It was. Great point.
The transfer portal.
My last helmet sticker. Get ready to add a new name to the list.
Oh.
Number 97.
Ooh.
Keona Davis.
Me too.
Yeah. Wow.
7 tackles. Great. I mean, he had a Jared Verse. I'm going to just quote Rams all day because we're number one. Jared Verse like sack where he just destroys the guy in front of him, runs straight through the man right to the quarterback, had a pass breakup, was mentioned several times on the broadcast. We have not really had a chance to celebrate the interior tackle play on the defensive side. Keona Davis.
That's been missing all year from this defense.
Correct.
Yep.
And you've had touches of it from Petchak, but really it's been missing this entire year. I had Keona Davis too. I always wondered 2 fall practices or fall camps a year ago, somebody made a comparison between him and Sue. And as soon as that happened, I was like, oh man.
Oh,
that's tough to do for a guy, right?
Your heart both lifts and sinks at the same time because you're like, oh, that's too high.
Like there's just no way.
Yeah.
Although we just talked about with Sue, it took a lot of years, and sometimes that that can happen.
Yeah.
So hopefully this is a development.
For the defensive line.
I mean, hopefully this defensive line coming back next year, you keep them all around, and you have some real development. Talked about Petchak earlier. Van Poppel coming back, right? Keona Davis coming back. All of these guys should be coming back.
Lenhart comes back.
Lenhart comes back as well. If you see some development there, you're going to at least have built some experience this year, even though it's not been what you wanted it to be.
Dang, is Cam Lenhart coming back for like his 8th year?
Yeah,
He feels like one of those guys, doesn't he?
Lenhart's on the same academic program I am.
Yep.
No, just kidding. He's certainly a little more dedicated.
Keona Davis did have another one from another game. I don't remember when, but
he did?
Yeah, he is now.
Oh.
He's now tied with Quentin Ives.
Wow. Well, congratulations, Keona. I'm
right.
sorry. I thought we didn't give you one yet.
Updated standings: Emmett Johnson 18, Isaiah Hunter 9, Javen Wright 8, Barney 7, Riola 6, Sierra Wright 5, Archie 4, Ives, Keona Davis, and Watson Trent all with 3. So
Emmett Johnson hasn't quite mathematically clinched the helmet
No.
sticker championship yet, but that might happen after the Pleasant
it's
State game.
Hunter, Javen, and Barney are really the ones that would need to have 2 massive games. Actually, Barney couldn't even do it, right?
Well, yeah,
the max is 6.
is
Yeah,
6.
he has clinched it.
Yeah.
No, well, it's 9 because you got the bowl game. Well, no, we don't get them out after the bowl
we
game.
don't.
That's
well,
right.
if we came back and did a January show, yeah.
Congratulations, Emmett Johnson
All
has
right,
clinched
he's
the Electoral
it. Add it
College.
to Matt Rule's list.
Yep.
Add it to Matt
Helmet
Rule's list.
sticker champion.
Has anyone ever clinched this early?
I don't
I
believe
can't
so.
Is this like the 2001 Mariners
I
of
mean,
Oh, yeah.
of the
last year
helmet
we had
sticker
like
bowl?
Bullock winning it.
Yeah.
That was.
All right, we got to take a break so we have some time for the morning drive. There you go. That's your helmet stickers. Take a break, 7:34. You're listening to the Friday Husker Tailgate. Lively for a bye week, guys, on KLIN.
Husker volleyball travels to Los Angeles to face UCLA tonight. Game day broadcast presented by Carpetland.
This is John Baylor. Catch Husker volleyball all season long on Lincoln's Husker Radio, 1499.3 KLIN.
Here's to 5 topics to get you going for game day. It's a special Friday Husker Tailgate edition of the Morning Drive, presented by Stonebridge Insurance and Wealth Management on Lincoln's Husker Radio, 1499.3 KLI.
Just got to say, over the years, some of the rough Novembers of Husker football over the years, especially after bye weeks, after losses, we've had some down Friday Husker tailgates in November, especially with no game coming up. It's nice to be. We've got it pumping this morning. It just feels like a lot of energy here with 2 games left. Take a moment to just realize while we can debate, maybe there should have been 8-9 wins this year. Holy cow. 6-7 this year.
How could you?
I mean, man, it is nice to even be just a bit better and talking about things like, are we going too far doing Heisman candidacy for this?
Mm-hmm.
Could we have 2 quarterbacks on the roster that we can't decide between next year? Bowl games, these are not the conversations we've been having. So it's worth taking a moment, for me at least, to appreciate that. All right, let's count them down with your morning drive.
Number 5.
All right, well, we covered this a lot, but let's take a specific angle on this. We've already gotten into the ubiquitous discussion everywhere about the next year, Nebraska's quarterback position, which I was just referencing. But yeah, let's get this specific part of it. John, you referenced this. What is the likelihood both of them will be in Lincoln in August 2026 for this debate to even be germane?
It's obviously going to depend on the next 2 games, because that's where the real tape is going to be laid for what TJ is capable of because of the quality of the defenses that are played. But you also have to take into consideration the modern game. And there are a lot of programs out there who would love to, that don't have a settled quarterback situation or aren't sure about their quarterback situation for next year, that are going to look at every possible option. And one of those options is to look at noteworthy backups at other places. And while, again, this defense that TJ played against is not good, you can still see things. You can still see decision-making. You can still see arm accuracy. You can still see, decision with the ball, all of that stuff. I right now, and I'll fudge only again because we need to see the next 3 games, because he'll play in the bowl, but it's less than 50% in right now today that both quarterbacks will be here, because it's just it's a reality of the modern game. Quarterbacks are in high demand, and the odds of people transferring just simply because they believe they deserve a chance to start and need that chance to start is there. It doesn't even have to be someone calling them and saying, we've got an opportunity. It could be the player themselves. And I'm not saying either side's going to do this, but it could be the player or someone working for the player themselves shopping the player, saying, look at this guy. That's how this whole thing works. So right now I say it's less than 50%.
You agree with that, Nate?
I would agree that one of these guys leaves in January. The question is who. The fact that it's even a question is kind of a shock to me, but I think TJ Lateef has shown enough to this point that somebody is going to offer him a starting shot. I don't, whether that's a power 4, whether that's a top half power 4, he'll determine in these next few weeks. But I just, as tough as the quarterback market is, he's going to get a shot somewhere. And, this isn't 1995. If the conditions that are in play right now existed in 1995, Brooke Behringer would have been on the next thing moving out of town.
All right, let me push back a little bit. Would you guys have answered that question the same way 2 weeks ago before the USC game?
It probably not less than 50, but I wouldn't have gone any higher than 60.
So his appearance in 3 games changes everything?
Well, I believe I may have even said something after the Houston Christian game that, that folks, because again, people are looking, and we're not even talking about Power 5 schools. There are going to be there are schools all across the country that are looking for a quarterback. And if you've got somebody, because remember, it's not a one-time transfer deal. We got basketball players that are playing at 5 different schools. All right. So, I mean, just because you leave one school to go to another doesn't mean, well, that's it. No, you could go to a third school after that,
of course,
if you wanted to.
But TJ Lateef came here knowing Dylan Raiola was going to be here and was going to be here for 2 years.
Sure. All quarterbacks do that, though.
And he knew he was going to be like, what was his plan before this? Right? What was Lateef in his head? What was his thought about his future at Nebraska 2 weeks ago? And is it completely changed now? I guess that's why, if he is the one, if he is the one that's would be moving on, right? I assume he expected to come here, probably not play a ton this year, and then be Dylan Raio's backup
But it
next
has
year.
now changed because now he is playing.
He's played he's played one game, essentially.
Well,
is what he's done so far.
he'll have 3 more by the time this is all
if
done.
If he sets the world on fire, yeah, I think I can understand that.
I don't
But
think
if
he
he
has to
doesn't,
set the world on fire. That's
it's
my
just
point.
the fact that he played.
That he played and that there's some tape out there of him being successful. This is not to draw back on Husker history. Harrison back going 1 for 10 against
if he's
K-State.
super quick to leave, I don't know why he came here to start.
But that's
again,
that's the game today,
yeah,
Jack.
there
That's the
you
game
go.
today.
No, but the game today would be not going. You don't go if there's a guy. You don't come here in the first place if you're playing the game today.
Everyone's going somewhere, right?
Right.
Yeah, but listen, there's a difference when there's a true freshman. Pick a school that's got a transfer quarterback this year, and then you go and you sit behind them. That's a whole lot different than sitting behind true freshman 5-star recruit Dylan Raiola.
Yeah. You're putting yourself in TJ's spot. But then what happens when the people that are representing you are getting phone calls? Once opportunity shows up, you have decisions to make.
Maybe.
There will be opportunity that shows up on his doorstep. I guarantee it.
Yeah,
there might already be that opportunity that is showing up there. Now, some of that stuff probably doesn't even get filtered down to TJ. You're right.
Yeah, but
where he has to make a decision. But remember, there's all of these intermediaries, whether it's a parent, whether it's a guardian, whether it's a high school coach or whatever. But I mean, your mindset changes when you get a chance to show off what you're capable of. And when offers start to come your way,
right.
That changes your mindset. So you may have had every best intention of being here, and this is not a guarantee. That's why I'm saying it's less than 50, but it's not 0.
Right. One point to the idea that maybe TJ stays. Think of many of these transfers, especially when they have gone far from home. They usually head back toward home or to the closest school. TJ Lateef's a West Coast guy. How many of these West Coast schools have NIL money to run at him on 3 starts? This isn't hometown boy goes to the Big Ten. This isn't like if he was from Georgia, and he played well for a few games and now Georgia needs a quarterback. UCLA is not going to spend on a quarterback.
And oh, by the way, we're missing one thing. What if it's Dylan?
That he's the more likely. That to me, if I had to pick more likely, it's him. 100% it's him.
Wow.
That would make the decision, that would have a reason to. He's setting himself up for, he's thinking about the NFL right
Correct.
now,
Oh,
right?
sure.
And
Lateef
maybe
isn't thinking about that.
And maybe,
yet.
yeah, exactly. And
by the
maybe
way,
there's a shot to go to a place. I'm not saying it's Lincoln Riley, but I'm saying if it's somebody who's got a history of putting quarterbacks in the league.
And by the way, who's going to have more tempting dollars and offers of the two of them? It's still Raiola, guys. Like
Sure.
it's still, maybe TJ Lateef has an opportunity to go to UNLV and start, right? Like,
there were the Miami rumors last year.
So. Of the two, that's the more likely scenario in my mind.
Certainly.
I think
certainly.
We'll see. It will be interesting. But and he's recovering from a serious injury too, right? On top of that,
Yeah, and that's the thing. You don't know.
I assume he isn't even going to be in the spring, right? Will he practice in the spring?
I think
he can practice.
I think the timetable is. It depends on the what exactly.
Because is there a second transfer? There's no longer summer.
No.
In
There's
January,
one portal.
So if you're here in the
January
spring,
2nd through the 16th, one portal.
You got to factor that into this whole thing now too.
Yes, you do.
He's going to have a broken leg still.
Correct.
when this
won't
is
be able to
happening.
go. Yeah.
Like that also bodes well for both of them being here, only having that transfer period. If there were one in the summer, I would feel it was a whole lot more.
Somebody
likely.
would move after spring.
After it came pretty clear in spring who the number one guy is. You're going to have no more opportunity. Nobody's going to have to play their hand at Nebraska in terms of who the guy's going to be because they have no idea.
That, you know how they
will. The negotiations.
The NIL
promises.
money.
Yep.
And
all right, moving on.
Number 4.
Okay, we talked about this a lot already. We discussed Emmett Johnson campaigning began in earnest this week. We discussed his medium future term last week. I think Matt Rule. So Matt Rule didn't say it was happening, but he got close enough to saying it was happening, and we kind of brought this up. I thought about it for the first time a week ago on the show, and now it's everywhere, right? In terms of the conversation about him going. But I am curious about what you think about Emmett's role the next 2 weeks. There's going to be more. Nebraska now, for better, we've talked about the Heisman campaign. There's going to be, when Penn State and Iowa are looking at Nebraska now, it's all about 21, right? In terms of their defense and stopping 21. I'm just curious, just on the next 2 weeks, like what kind of a challenge is this going to be for him now, maybe, that there hasn't been before,
certainly,
because better defenses and even more focus on him.
And guys on both defenses that will play in the league. So you're going to get a better opportunity to see, okay, well, here's a guy that, we might be thinking about a fifth round pick on, but also going up against guys that we might also have on our draft board. So, these are 2 very important weeks for Emmett if he is going to entertain leaving early for the NFL, because it's going to be a bigger test for what he does. And obviously Dana can't call the plays based on, what's best for Emmett and those prospects. He has to do what's best for the team.
Yeah.
So it will be very interesting to see his usage in the next 2 games, because he is integral to how this offense goes. Yeah. When Emmett doesn't function, the team doesn't function.
Yep. Yeah. 100%.
So he is absolutely going to be integral to the next 2 weeks. And he also realizes as well, what could it mean for his future fortune.
Especially that Iowa game. Standing nearly alone on Friday. The Penn State game is going to get kind of lost in a college football Saturday. But that Iowa game.
Right, but the scouts will be there. They're scouts at Penn State.
100%.
They'll be scouts at Iowa.
Right, but just in terms of the national awareness of him.
I'll be curious to see how many scouts are in the press box on Black Friday.
Yeah, that's true. Well, and the other thing about Penn State is you talked about him being number 8 on Mel Kiper's list. 2 of the guys ahead of him play for Penn State.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
It could be a running back.
You got 3 of the best 8 NFL potential running backs, according to Mel Kiper, in the nation in that game.
Yeah. And he might get a little juice from that. Yeah. The scary part is, as he draws defensive attention, you hope that they still lean toward running the ball, because the focus on running the ball has made this offensive line so much better.
Right.
They're so much better going forward than backpedaling and catching. And so it may take a commitment to the run when you're only getting 2 yards carry.
It feels like they have almost been saying, okay, there's got to be a defense who is finally just going to say, we are going all in on stopping him. And Dana Holgerson just waiting. Yeah. Somebody is finally going to commit too much to that. And finally, Nebraska's going to get that deep pass, right? Seriously, it's got to happen at some point.
Maybe.
I feel like, my goodness. All right, moving on.
Number 3.
Wow, I know some of us in the room don't get very excited about talking about bowl games. Let's talk about the possibilities for late December. You can sit this out if you need to, John. It appears Nebraska is likely to end up in Las Vegas against a former Pac-12 team, or Tampa/Nashville against an SEC team. I think you guys, if you guys agree with that, or if you think there's another one that's more likely or more possible, just give me the game and matchup. You'd John, even though you won't, what could get you the most excited, which is not much of that group. Right?
I'd love to see Nebraska against an SEC team, especially if it might be one that they used to be in the same league with, like a Missouri, or a Texas. Not that I think Texas might, but it's possible.
They could.
Actually, I'm not that jazzed about Oklahoma, only because
me neither. It's already happened.
We saw Oklahoma,
and then we got to correct everyone on the rivalry based on respect.
I know. We got to go through that whole song.
John
and
I are on a lifelong crusade to, make history accurate, told accurately, and I don't want to have to do that again. So you think so? Oh, give me. All right, what's your specific game that you want? Pick it up.
I can't remember which bowl goes to which one.
Okay,
But
Music City,
how about
Nashville.
City?
Yeah, Music
You want
City's
Nashville
obviously one.
or Tampa. Same.
Oh,
Both SEC games. Tampa versus Texas.
Tampa, absolutely.
Tampa versus Texas.
I still love the OU rivalry, so Tampa versus OU. But I mean, if it's Mizzou or Texas, and either Nashville or Tampa, I guess Tampa wins the tiebreaker because that means you had the better season.
I would also throw in. I'd like to see Nebraska against Diego Pavia.
That would be.
Nebraska's never played Vanderbilt.
That's a good one, and you know he's going to play.
Probably,
Pavia?
yeah.
Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Pavia will play.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I think I want to feel that disdain for Missouri again. I miss that. I miss that.
I wouldn't mind.
In my heart.
I might want that.
That's what I want. And I also think that
I don't like Texas. I don't like Texas at all.
Also, I doubt either of them will play. But again, another one of the running backs that's ahead of Emmett Johnson in the NFL rankings too. But they won't have their starting quarterback either in that game.
Texas probably won't quote unquote fall that far.
Now,
but they could.
For another reason, I'd like them to go to Las Vegas because I think that would be the cheapest bowl to get to. And I kind of like to go. I've been to Vegas in a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna be a weird matchup though, because it'll be a former Pac-12
team,
could be
and it could be Washington.
I hope it's not Washington. I think Utah would be fun.
I think
Utah would be fun.
Utah would be interesting.
I think Arizona State could be fun.
Yeah.
Right?
The Jeff Sims.
Oh God, people around here will hate Kenny
Can you imagine if Jeff Sims comes and gets the final last laugh on Nebraska in Las Vegas?
And then all these, not all these years, it's only been 2, but finally Amigos combo meal will finally sell.
There you go. They can put it back.
two cherry turnovers and Pepto-Bismol.
The other one, I don't know, Cal. That doesn't really get me too excited. I don't even know who else is
Nobody
on that
in
list.
the ACC outside of
Arizona
Miami excites
Is
me.
Arizona a possibility? Maybe I don't know. Yeah. All right, we got to go quick here.
Number 2.
We'll do real fast on this one, guys. Just a couple of seconds. In the last 2 games, if there's a primary critique of Nebraska, it's continued to be the defense's allowances of consistent chunk gains in the running game, particularly to opposing quarterbacks. How does this issue impact the way that you think about Nebraska's next 2 matchups?
Not as much with Penn State, but certainly with Iowa. Gronowski will run the football, and that's a dynamic we've not seen from Iowa really since Nebraska joined the league.
Yeah, I agree with John. It's not really a worry against Penn State next week, but against Iowa, that's part of that warlock magic they seem to have on Nebraska.
Yeah, that's like a new spell that they have that they haven't had to use on us.
Keep in mind, of Nebraska and Iowa, only one of those teams has won a game in the last 2 weeks. Congratulations to the Huskers.
Number 1.
With Nebraska having the week off, what's the most compelling storyline to you this college football weekend? The former Big 12 teams, Texas and Oklahoma, with the chance to get back in the thick of the playoff races against Georgia and Alabama. Nebraska's future opponents, Penn State, going to Michigan State. This will be our score pick game, by the way. Why? I don't know. And Iowa going to USC. Chance to see Cignetti put up 50 on Wisconsin, or the possibility of a choke by Texas A&M versus South Carolina, Texas Tech versus Scott Frost, Ole Miss and Lane versus Florida, or Oregon versus Minnesota. What's exciting you for this week?
My most compelling storyline is how much time I might either spend outside raking leaves and putting up lights because I have YouTube TV, and a lot of these games are on networks I no longer get, or my continuing quest to hook up an antenna that I can watch over the air, Channel 8.
You mean just like one on you're not trying to put one on your ceiling or on your roof, are you?
I would have to, yeah.
You can just buy a digital one you plug into your TV. What are you talking about?
Reception downstairs is awful. Does not work.
Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be the battle for me of ducking housework, and then maybe that Ole Miss Florida game, just because Lane Kiffin auditioning for the Gator job, perhaps.
Texas, Georgia, in terms of the games, is the most interesting.
My biggest thing I'm looking forward to is see if all the sports bars that used to be in Sioux Falls in 1998 still exist, because I haven't been there since, and I will be taking my first visit to the Sanford Pentagon tomorrow for Nebraska basketball. Unbeaten Nebraska basketball. Yeah.
There's one Division I men's basketball team in the state.
Yeah.
Can say
actually, the hottest team in the country.
Many people are saying
the longest winning streak in the best team in college basketball, Nebraska basketball. 757.
I don't have K Ford ratings on that, but I guarantee you they're lower than 87.
All right. Check out the Ken Palm ratings.
Because
by
I'll
the way.
see that same team they just beat tonight in Omaha.
All right. Yeah, they're really good. Take a break. This is the Friday Husker Tailgate on KLIN.
Husker men's
Raiola takes a snap, fade route, back run to the end zone. Touchdown, Huskers! Isaiah Hunter for the Husker touchdown.
Who do you think you're fooling? Nobody's thinking about their job the day before a Husker game.
Backpedals the throw, blitz picked up. Harris went out deep right sideline. 50-50 ball. It's picked off. The black shirts with the dagger. Malcolm Hartzog with a giant pick. Sails the night for the Big Red. Drifts back to throw, dumps it to an underneath crosser. Goody made the catch, got popped. Ball's loose, but they say incomplete.
This is the Friday Husker Tailgate with Jack Mitchell, Nate Rohr, John Bishop, and Kevin Suits on Lincoln's Husker Radio, 1499.3 KLIN. Oh, will disposition on Lincoln's Husker Radio, 1499.3 KLIN.
It's the hour of the Friday Husker Tailgate on 1499.3 KLIN.
Wow, between bye weeks for the Chiefs and the Huskers and road games and all of that, Nate has given us his full energy there. I
I'm
appreciate
pretty
it.
well rested at this point.
Yeah,
I
right.
only have one of each this month. I need more football.
There you go. All right. Well, hopefully you'll be. Hopefully, you have a lot of Chiefs games. You could have a lot of Chiefs games left.
Yeah, this
we'll
is
see.
true.
We'll see. All right. Well, opposition disposition. There's no game, so we don't have anybody to give you the alumni of or anything like that. But we do have Kevin Suits in the house now. Hello, Kevin. Welcome to the off week.
Nate,
Hello.
great job. That started precariously there. I thought you
were
dipped
a
a
little
little bit
worried?
early, and then man, did you bring it?
Second win.
Yeah. Hey,
And I'll caution you about complaining about not having enough football. Do you want to be at Arrowhead Stadium on Thanksgiving Day? Like they're on the road this year for Thanksgiving.
well,
That's nice.
I love my family, but a Thanksgiving game would be pretty sweet.
He'll be there
Yeah,
Christmas night though.
Yeah, this is true.
Hooray!
They're home against the Broncos. That one's a little janky.
I remember talking to Mitch Holtis in the offseason
Yeah.
about like the scheduling for the Chiefs, the international games, and there's such an appeal that they can't get a holiday off. Like he's always gone.
Oh, it's
Thanksgiving,
Yeah,
Christmas.
don't get Mitch started on the schedule.
Don't be too. Oh man, look at me and all the success I've got to deal with. Oh, it's such a.
What a bad
What
thing.
a crutch. What a burden for me to carry that I've got to deal with.
Yeah.
Is the
That's kind of our attitude
success.
too.
Shame. The
thing.
team's
Yeah,
good and everybody wants to watch.
Yeah, do you want Brody Croyle back under center
Yeah,
so you can
exactly.
play at noon and
Yeah.
get it over with and move on with your
Exactly.
life?
Yeah, that's a good point.
I can't imagine Mitch would take that deal.
That is a good point. All right, but so we'll delve into the discussion here this hour with Kevin. But John does still he brought us some historic clips, which he very often does that correspond to maybe not the opponent, but some of the dates or the things going on. It looks like we are going back to a very significant game here this year. John, tell us about it.
Well, we just passed Veterans Day. This game was played on Veterans Day, 1978.
I didn't even realize that until you had told me.
Well, it's rare because it used to be that Oklahoma ended the season, but for some reason, this particular year, the Big 8 Conference moved the Oklahoma game up and the Missouri game down. So Missouri ended up being the last opponent. Thus, Nebraska-Oklahoma kicked off on Veterans Day, 1978. The, of course, opponent, the Oklahoma Sooners, the number 1 ranked team in the country, and Tom Osborne had lost his first not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 games in a row, 73-77, all to Barry Switzer. They came in at the same time, could not beat him. Came close once, got beat on a hook and lateral play. So here comes 1978, and still to this day, the best team Barry Switzer said he thought he ever had. And let's see, what did I give you? I
You
gave
gave me
you a bunch of stuff.
You probably want to start with this middle one here. I'm going to guess here.
Well, yeah,
or this one. Or,
yeah, no, let's go ahead and start with this one because I believe this was the touchdown that it is. It's the touchdown that would give Nebraska their first lead of the game. Early third quarter with Mr. Football himself on the call.
Nebraska with the wind at their back. They split a flanker to the right side. 3rd and 1 at the 8. And Sorley flips the ball over to Hip. Hip comes back in. He's in there. Touchdown. Steve Lindquist and Tom Ort blocking beautifully along with Junior Miller. And with 9:25 left on the scoreboard clock, Nebraska leads 13-7.
But Billy Sims, who was in the Heisman race, would have another one of his typical great games. Well, at least in terms of how many yards he ended up with. He ended up rushing for 159 yards. But in a play that would later make him governor.
Mm-hmm.
This was late in the fourth quarter. Oklahoma driving, and it looked like Billy Sims was about to score another late touchdown to break Nebraska's hearts, leading at that point by a 17-14 score.
Again, they have two tight ends in the Oklahoma offense as they line up in the wishbone with nobody wide. Thomas Lott takes the ball from under. He keeps the ball. He pitches out. And Billy Sims broke a couple of tackles. He's knocked down, lost the ball, and Nebraska got the ball. Jim Pillen covered the ball as Billy Sims got knocked down, lost the ball, and Nebraska has it at the 3-yard line with 3 minutes, 27 seconds left on the scoreboard clock.
Now, the impressive thing about this was Nebraska's backed up on its own goal line with 3 minutes to go. If it's a 3 and out, they got a punt. Going to probably not be a great punt. It was a windy day that day, and Oklahoma's going to get the ball in plus territory with still a chance to win the game. But then Nebraska cranked out a first down. They cranked out another first down, and it led Mr. Bremser to utter this.
And I don't know if Lincoln, Nebraska is up to handling a victory over Oklahoma this year. If I owned a bar in the city of Lincoln, I'd close it up tonight. I'll tell you that. Amen.
It makes me wonder if Lyle understands running a small business and revenue.
Well, he knew how to run a radio station. He was very good at that. But no, he did not have. He's not like Gary Dolphin, the voice of the Hawkeyes, who has his own bar. Yeah, he didn't.
I was going to say,
I
think you might meet your revenue for the entire year if you had kept the bar open that night.
And we'll wrap it up with that.
The ball is at the 49, 30 seconds left. Nebraska now just needs to go back and line it up. The crowd is coming down on the field. This is going to go goofy here this afternoon, and well, it should. 18 seconds. Now they're trying to get their players into the huddle to run the ball, trying to keep them getting called for delay of the game. And now they break the huddle and come over. 7 seconds, 6 seconds. Calm down. 4 seconds, 3 seconds. And there it is. Look at that. Nebraska's won the football game 17-14. Holy mother, man, woman, and child, isn't it something? Look at the goal post. Oh, and here goes goal post. There is pandemonium today. This is an unbelievable sight. This is absolutely unbelievable. How do you describe it? How do you describe this? I just want to say two things, Ken, and I want to repeat them. Tom Osborne should be Coach of the Year, and if he isn't, there is total injustice in the ranks of college coaches. The job he has done this year with the Nebraska Cornhuskers, and the nicest, sweetest part about the whole thing is he's such a swell guy, sweet guy. He is a nice guy who showed them that nice guys can win. And oh, how he needed this victory. the great coaching job he's done, and this just put all the frosting right on top of the cake. And Jerry Moore, Jerry, this just
So these are the coaches coming over from the coaching box to do the post-game show.
Already?
Yes.
Wow.
Staff.
Yeah.
And Tom, as I've said again, and I'm going to repeat just once more, he proved nice guys can win. Because he's one of the nicest the Lord ever made. Well, we're going to be right back with Jerry Moore, and that ought to be entertaining. I've lost my script, Ken. Where is it? Come on, Hedrick, get it out of here. You don't need a script. Ramp until ready. All right, that's it. We'll be back here in just a moment. What do I say? I don't know. There you go. This is Lyle Brenzer inviting you to stay tuned. You know, I've seen it all. I'm really ready to die now. I'm ready to go. They can take me anytime.
Oops. There it is.
Oh God,
That's
phenomenal.
Do you know?
Oh my gosh.
I'm pretty sure this is true. It's the only time in the storied history of Nebraska football that they have a win over a number one team. Because if you think about it, all their national titles, 70, the two teams that lost ahead of them and they won, they jumped them. 71, they were number one from start to finish. 94, they were already number one. 95, they were already number one. 97, they got moved up to number one by the coaches, right?
Mm-hmm.
But they didn't beat number one to get there. Only time in Nebraska football history that they have defeated the number one ranked team.
That's crazy. Wow. That crowd.
The crowd was
that was
insane.
so loud.
The memories I have of this,
because you were 7, so you probably
I was 7.
remember.
I remember because Mom and Dad came down for the game. They were here. I stayed. My brother and I stayed with Grandma Bishop back in Fremont. The tornado sirens went off in Fremont after the game. And it was not a test, and it was not a warning. Somebody
Who did that?
Somebody at Civil Defense in Fremont, Nebraska set the tornado sirens off. Because I looked at Grandma, I was like, what do we do? And Grandma said, somebody's just excited that Nebraska won. And that's what it was.
Well, nowadays people set off fireworks.
Fireworks in East Lincoln.
Yeah,
normally.
Oh, yeah. South Lincoln too.
Yeah. That's always my tweet. Fireworks in East Lincoln after they'll do it after a volleyball set,
Sure,
Nebraska won the first set against Illinois. Fireworks,
boom.
it's that kind of a thing. Do you remember the losses prior to that, and the just kind of the frustration that had built up about Oklahoma?
The only one I remember is 77, and I was too young to really care at that point. I just remember it was on Black Friday and Nebraska got blown out. But that's my first Oklahoma memory. But again, it was just very fuzzy. This game I remember a little better. Now, some of it too is probably clouded by the fact that I have rewatched this game on YouTube on a few occasions. It is a fun rewatch because Oklahoma fumbles the ball like 9 times, loses 6 of them. So I've seen this game many, many times. And we had here, and I wish I had that tape. We have Don Gill's full game. We had it here in the station for the longest time, and we would replay it on Thanksgiving Day.
I remember when you did that.
Yeah. Maybe it's somewhere in the KLIN files.
It might be, but we had the tape of that game.
Yeah, there's Don Gill's call of the first touchdown when he says the oranges are coming down and the balloons are going up, and that was just such a great snapshot of then. It's a interesting, kind of worrisome counterfactual. What if Jim Pillen doesn't fall on that ball? What if Billy Sims?
How many things are different?
That ball,
yeah,
because of course Tom Osborne was offered the Colorado job and seriously considered taking it. You mentioned he was 0 for 5 against Oklahoma. That would have made him 0 for 6. There was an edge. There was a worry about Nebraska not having beaten Oklahoma. What if he takes that job? What if he takes the Colorado job? Where is Nebraska football at this point?
It's a great what if.
It is. It's kind of scary.
It's very scary. And of course, the next week, unfortunately, they lose to Missouri. We actually came down. We tried to scalp tickets for that game and get tickets. Couldn't get them. Could not get into the stadium. And so my dad and I ended up driving all the way back home where we listened to the game.
Oh my gosh, you drove down and then just
we drove
back?
down to try to get tickets. Dad couldn't find them at a decent price because they were just scalping the ever-loving crap out of them because the game wasn't on TV.
Yeah.
Right.
Like this one was. But yeah, I remember driving back, and then the memory I have of that day is we get home, Nebraska's lost, and we get the news that they're going to get rematched against Oklahoma in the Orange Bowl. And I'm sitting down watching Battle of the Network Stars, one of my favorite shows as a kid.
Hopefully one of the Linda Carter ones.
And, oh, yeah, she was there. And Dad's sitting at the table doing his, my dad's a coin collector, so he was working on some stuff, and he was mad as I've ever seen him. And I looked at Mom and I said, "What's wrong with Dad?" And she said, "He's just mad because his team lost." It's the only time I ever remember my dad, being viscerally upset. Because my dad's pretty level-headed about these things. Mm-hmm. He was viscerally upset about that loss to Missouri, and the fact that they had to play Oklahoma again in the Orange Bowl.
Yeah, that's a fun watch on YouTube, too. The video exists, and it shows you how different things were then. I don't know if there was a news crew or something.
Missouri, it was tape delay televised in Missouri.
But, so the Missouri game happens, and Tom Osborne and Bob Devaney are sitting at a conference room table in the athletic department, and they take the call from the Orange Bowl committee, and they tell him, "I'm sure somebody has advised you by now that we're going to rematch you with Oklahoma." And Tom says nothing, but shakes his head and has this smile that says, "Are you effing kidding me?"
Yeah.
And
I bet that wasn't in Tom's head, but yes.
Yeah. and the other end of the lines, Tom's just kind of shaking his head, and the other end of the lines, hello, because it was dead silence from the Nebraska people. I want to know why they moved the Missouri game later.
I don't know. I still haven't found out the answer to that, but that's the only time I think they did it. And it was just that one year. Cause like I said, 77 was on Black Friday. 79, it was back to the last game.
Right.
And I can't remember until really the end of the Big 8 where the Oklahoma game wasn't the last game of the season.
The 92 K-State game because they won overseas, but other than that.
Yes.
So 92 K.
And sometimes for Oklahoma, it wasn't always the last game because sometimes they would play Bedlam the following week when Nebraska would be done.
That's right.
So it wasn't always Oklahoma's last game, but it was always Nebraska's last game, with the exception of 78. And you mentioned the Tokyo trip.
And strangely, it's strange to me that it was the last game, at least in the 60s, because remember that changed at least early in the Devaney years. That changed because remember 63 was at risk because of JFK's assassination.
Yep.
That was a Thanksgiving week game. It's strange that the Big 8 said, okay, Nebraska and Oklahoma are going to play the last week of the year, and said that in the 60s, did it all the way through the 60s when Oklahoma fell and Nebraska rose, did it all the way through the 70s, and then 78 said, let's try this.
Yeah. Wow. Good stuff. Really, really good stuff. Yeah. And then I, as a kid, I didn't get to enjoy the joy of beating Oklahoma until Lawrence Pete came along and broke Charles Thompson's leg on my TV, and a little bloodthirsty 11-year-old that I was, as Dylan Riley would say, blood in my eyes, was that's the most violently, intensely happy about an injury I've ever been in my life. I'll admit it. I will admit it. Yes.
Caused me to swear on the radio for the first time.
Yes. But
2 years ago, remember that?
But for me, it was a rivalry based on respect. All right, 8:28. We'll take a break. Kevin Suits, we'll talk to him next about his thoughts on all of the Ryle Latif stuff, all of the Emmett Johnson stuff, the rest of the season and more coming up next on KLIN.
Welcome back to the Friday Husker Tailgate on Lincoln's Husker Radio, 1499.3 KLIN.
Kevin Suits here. He was kind of a spectator in the last one because he's all of us reminiscing about our olden days here at Nebraska when he had not arrived here yet. But
I love hearing the stories, though.
Good. We we love having you here. Thank you for being here on the bye week. We already delved into a lot of these issues, so I'm kind of ready to mix you into the conversation. So I'm curious, and the conversation that's been everywhere, I'm sure it's been happening to the people you've been talking to too, is the TJ Lateef, Dylan Raiola thing. There's already, I think it's premature, very premature, but this is the conversation right now. Did TJ Lateef change the way you think about next year already?
No, just nobody. Okay. It could change TJ Lateef's future for next year, but not Nebraska's.
Okay.
I'm sure you guys have already talked about that.
Yeah.
The money that's going to be coming
what
toward.
You think? Yeah.
If Dylan Raiola is on the roster, he's going to play at Nebraska.
Yeah.
Especially with the money he's being paid.
Yeah, that's true.
So I don't think that it changes anything. Not to mention, like, are we really quick to dismiss the way Dylan could come back from this injury? Because we get so fascinated with TJ Lateef. Like, I'm willing to be patient and give Dylan a chance to come back and be better than he even was. Not to mention, it's almost like because of the couple of big losses in big games, it's like the fan base just needed something to shift their attention, like a dog that gets fixated on a toy and you like chew it down and you wear it all the way down. Well, here comes the new toy, and now that's all you want to play with. It's almost like the fans needed that, in spite of the fact that Nebraska is what, 6-3? Mm-hmm. Are they 7-3? 7-3.
Yep.
I mean, like, it's kind of a weird dynamic because if you go back to 2024, 23, 22, all the way, keep rewinding. How many years would you have just yearned for 6 wins with 2 games to go in the regular season?
There's a portion of the fan base that doesn't know how to be happy.
Yeah, that's very well said.
And a portion of the fan base that loves to eat their young. I mean, you know, they've seen Dylan Raiola play 20 games, so they know all his faults. You know, TJ Lateef's only played a game plus 2 halves that in blowouts. I mean, I love the shiny new object analogy there.
Dylan is completing over 70% of his passes, and yet everybody's fascinated with TJ Lateef as the quarterback for next year. That doesn't compute for me. Dylan threw for 2,000 yards. He had a great year. Now, he had some issues getting out of the pocket and, you know, like maybe not getting rid of the ball quick enough. He's a sophomore. Like, I don't know. My encouragement for some of the fans is to think about what he could be as a junior, regardless of the injury situation, because it's not like the injury happened in spring football and it's going to knock him out for part of the year. What did Dana Holgerson say? The recovery is likely going to be 8 to 12 weeks.
Yeah. So is he going to be back in the spring for spring practice?
I don't know if they would rush him back to the spring.
They might not rush him back.
He could throw.
The thing, though, that does complicate it is that portal window is the 2nd through the 16th of January, and that's the only one there is. He'll still be technically on the shelf at that point, right? So all of the questions about what the availability is, obviously there's going to be medical advice and all of these other things that go into that, but technically he will be an injured quarterback when the transfer portal opens.
I guess if you're a fan out there listening or watching right now thinking, oh, well, TJ Lateef's going to have the job next year. He should have the job next year. I'm going to say check yourself, because Dylan Raiola, I believe, is going to be back next year. And I want to give Dylan the benefit of the doubt that he's going to be back at 100% health. And he's going to improve on a year in which he threw for 2,000 yards in 9 games.
Right.
I mean, that's okay.
But what
it's really good, and one thing that we need to be very cognizant of, I'm willing to have the conversation of, because they are different style of quarterbacks, is what works best for this offense, what works best for this play caller. That's fine conversation to have. What the conversation I don't want to have are the people that are already criticizing Dylan today and saying, "Oh, he's not that good."
Stop it.
That's not in the conversation as far as I'm concerned. You bring all the stats you bring up. There's comparisons between this year and last year, not even close. He has gotten better as a quarterback.
Without question.
And if you think he has reached his peak in terms of his development, you're artificially limiting somebody who has already been driven to the point where they've made one jump. Well, it probably made several jumps from going from when he was a small kid, but you're underestimating his ability to take the next step and then the next step. Is he draft ready today? Of course not. But he could be by the end of next year. And how often have we heard Matt Rule talk about we're getting him ready for the next level? If he's good to his word, that's what they still want to do with Dylan Raiola.
And next year's team is going to be different than this year's team. You don't know what's going to happen in terms of some of the receivers. Emmett Johnson could go pro. You might need an elite quarterback. Are we quick to term TJ Lateef elite after one start?
No.
That's where there's an element of a spoiled fan base. You know, if you're unhappy with Dylan and what he was able to do,
which is weird because they haven't been spoiled.
Okay, so do you want Jeff Sims back? Do you want to go through Andrew Bunch again? You know, we can list all the quarterbacks that Nebraska rotated through with Mike Riley and with my goodness, we were looking at some of the video this past week of when Nebraska lost to Troy under Scott Frost.
Yeah.
It was Andrew Bunch. And the reason why we brought that video up is because that was a game Luke Lindenmeyer was talking to us about. He went and he was at the game. And for him, he's still committed despite going through that experience. He got tickets through a family friend, yada, yada, yada. Anyway, the point is that there have been a lot of quarterbacks that have rotated through at Nebraska, and there's been a lot of instability there and not a whole lot of production. And you want to go Tanner Lee again?
Yeah.
Take Dylan Raiola, and I think if Emmett goes pro, and if some of the receivers aren't here next year, you're going to need an elite quarterback. And I think Dylan has a greater chance of being elite, and I think he is right now because of what the numbers say from this year. And I think he's going to get better next year. The focus should be more on what they can do with Dylan as the quarterback rather than TJ Lateef next year. TJ could be a nice compliment. And I will move the conversation a little bit forward because I'm guessing you want my opinion on the Emmett Johnson situation.
Yeah.
I think Emmett Johnson and Nebraska's campaigning for him, it's maybe a little bit delayed. I think they could have done it a couple of weeks ago. He was really good against Northwestern. He was really good against Michigan State. Then he didn't have the 100-100 game, but I think it's a little bit delayed. And I'm wondering, and maybe I'm just a psycho and a sicko in thinking this, if this is an example of Matt Rule playing chess, not checkers, because if they are going all in on Emmett Johnson and campaigning for him to win the Heisman Trophy, it gives the opposing teams remaining on the schedule, Penn State and Iowa, it drives them to focus more on Emmett and less on TJ Lateef. I wouldn't put it past his coaching staff to play that sportsmanship game or that gamesmanship game because we got to take care of 21. We got to take care of 21. And if you're doing that from the opposing standpoint, it's less focus they have on TJ Lateef. And also, what did Matt Rule say about his team when they had to go TJ Lateef against UCLA? We want everybody else to do a little bit more, get a little bit better. The coaches, the line, the receivers. So it put less pressure on TJ Lateef. Guess what? If you are going all in on Emmett Johnson and making him the focus, it's less on TJ Lateef.
That's a good point.
Great point.
I hadn't thought of it that way. Yeah.
Let him go play, because the more that TJ feels the pressure of these games, it could swallow up a true freshman quarterback with not a whole lot of big action.
Especially against those defenses.
Bingo.
Yeah.
Not to say that Emmett's not worthy of Heisman praise, but one of the things I want to do this weekend is, maybe somebody's already done it, go back and look at Amir Abdullah's numbers when they made the Heisman case for him and Emmett Johnson's numbers. Are they similar? Was Emmett better? Is Amir better? I don't know.
Amir, the yards, the rushing yards, they're all down this year. When you look at the
across the
national
country.
rushing leaders, they are, for whatever reason.
Well, there's no Ashton Genty to artificially shoot them up,
right,
a couple thousand yards. But yeah, I mean, the usage of running backs has changed dramatically in college football. Back in the day when running backs were winning Heismans at the level that quarterbacks are winning them now, it was a running back centered game. The Mike Roziers, the Billy Sims, the Charles Whites, the Herschel Walkers, and the sort. Then the game got more pass friendly, and that's when the quarterbacks and to a much lesser degree, the wide receivers started rising to the top of the Heisman charts. That's just the evolution of the modern football. And so, yeah, these numbers aren't going to be Heisman-like levels, but that's a very interesting point you bring up, that the more you focus on Emmett, A, he can handle it, and B, takes more heat off of TJ.
That's true. Yeah. I mean, listen, if they don't do this Emmett Johnson like campaign, that takes away probably 25% of the amount we talked about Emmett Johnson today, right?
Yep.
For right or wrong.
Yep.
Right. And we would have filled that with, right?
That's exactly my point.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
if it's just another week, bye week, or then we transition into the Penn State week, what's the prevailing conversation for all Husker fans?
Yeah. It's about
TJ Lateef.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now you've given him something else to talk about. And it's no coincidence that, it all started with Matt Rule. And this doesn't happen if Matt Rule doesn't spend 2 minutes of the press conference just reading all of the accolades for Emmett Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And that kickstarted the entire thing.
Wow.
And that was prepared and it was measured.
Yes. I mean,
it's not like there was a national college football analyst or an in-game broadcaster that started banging the drum of Emmett Johnson needs to be in the Heisman Trophy conversation.
It was so funny. The clip Nate played of when Matt Rule did that, he said, hopefully our social media people will get on this. Yeah, you don't think Matt Rule was?
No,
I mean,
they had the same.
Matt
sheet
Rule
he
had
did.
this,
and then the graphic.
He
came
is
out.
the one who rolls out these things,
Yep.
and as we know, he doesn't like when he doesn't have the ability to control that message and rolling out. And it's a smart, good. He's a great at it. He's really, really good at it. And so
nothing is ever by accident with Matt Rule.
Even if it sort of looks like it, right? Right. I mean, hopefully the social media people will get on this. And then the next night at the basketball game, what do they have? A graphic on the Pinnacle Bank Arena scoreboard.
Yep.
Emma Johnson sitting courtside with an Emma Johnson for Heisman shirt on. Like
meet and greet the next day.
And the meet and greet.
Everybody walks out of the basketball game. They got a flyer on their car for a meet and greet.
This is the bye week too. So Nebraska had the opportunity. It's not like they had a game for fans to maybe get distracted with talking about the opponent or trying to look at the matchup, or there's less availability with the players. There is no availability to talk to the players this week outside of Emmett Johnson at the meet and greet. So there's not a whole lot in which the public can steer the conversation. It was all going to start and end with the head coach. And I thought what was fun about the quip he had about we hope our social media team mashes this thing up. We do at 10-11, we do the Monday mashup every week.
Yeah.
And so he put that thing right in the alley-oop for us. He threw the lob and we took the slam dunk, because our Monday mashup in our 10 o'clock sportscast Monday night, it was just like hammering every one of those things that he mentioned about Emmett Johnson.
I don't think I have ever seen a coach more passionate and intentional about strategic communication.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen it. Yeah.
But I don't know that people pause to think critically about, okay, so why
there's more of it happening than anyone knows. That's what I'll say. Yeah. Yeah. I promise. I don't even, some things I know, some I don't, some I suspect, but there's more of it happen than anyone knows.
Anybody talking about Turner Corcoran this week? I mean, he's going to have to start at tackle for the next 2 games.
Yeah.
With that body that's been through the wars of the Big Ten. No one's talking about it.
Right. Yeah.
Why?
Nobody's talking about the rush defense. Nebraska's inability to contain quarter. We mentioned it for a second on our top 5, right?
Yeah, and we were out of time.
Or the pass defense, which has been really, really, really good.
Yeah.
It's all Emmett now.
Yep.
And I think that bodes well for this team and its psyche going down to these final couple of games.
Kevin, to answer your question, just rushing numbers alone, Emmett Johnson this year, rushing numbers, 203 attempts. Amir Abdullah, and he has 2 games left. Amir Abdullah's full season in 2014, 264 attempts. Yards gained, Emmett Johnson, 1,131 so far. Amir, 1,611. Yards per attempt, Emmett this year, 5.6. Amir, 6.1. Touchdowns, rushing, Emmett this year, 11. Amir Abdullah, 19. So still a little ways to go.
You get the point, though?
Yep.
Leaning into Amir made a lot of sense. Not to say it doesn't make sense for Emmett this year.
Right.
They're not as similar as people maybe think.
All right, we got the picks next. Coming up on KLIN.
Peacocks belong to your billing statement. Every Husker game is free on Lincoln's Husker Radio, 1499.3 KLIN. These guys, let the trash talk begin. It's time to call your shot in the Friday Husker Tailgate Pigskin Picks of the Week. Presented by Exchange Bank. Husker Radio, 1499.3 KLIN.
All right, last week I led the way once again, 6 points. Wisconsin wins outright as I predicted. Love Wisconsin.
Big Badger
field
fan.
goal away from nailing the Husker score against UCLA, so I got that point too. I got 6. John got 5. Does not get to, quote, brag about Iowa if they win.
They covered the spread.
That's not what you said. That was actually the only head-to-head miss that you got. Also, I know you're a big UConn fan, right? You're a big, and
Loves
congratulations. UConn. John Bishop, put it on the internet. John Bishop, UConn supporter. Congratulations on that call. They won, got you 2
I am
points.
an unabashed fan of the Big East. Jim Mora Jr., easily
right.
my favorite head football coach in the Big East Conference.
There you go. Right. We just like all that. We conference cheer. I forgot about that. That's the same way I like Iowa. Okay. Kevin got 3. A little misplaced faith in Bill O'Brien's ability to motivate. Sorry about that. And Nate, not last place this week. He got 4. Woo! Got a little Andrew Luck for a point there, and decent head-to-head day. So there you go. I got 42. John's got 37. Kevin's got 31. Nate's got 22. This week, all right, some good games in the SEC. We've got Oklahoma and Alabama starting us out, and I got Bama here, John.
Yeah, Alabama.
Yeah, anybody
Bama. Yeah,
anybody
Gonna make a lot of people mad, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Roll Tide.
Okay, all right. Notre Dame at Pitt. This was a bigger line than I realized. I thought this would be, I don't know. I thought there was a shot at this being pretty interesting. So maybe it's a weird one for me to put in here. I will take Notre Dame though, John.
Notre Dame's on a roll right now. They are in must-win mode, and Pitt will give them a fight, though. I wouldn't be surprised if they covered the 12.5 number, but I like the Irish.
Huge.
It is big. In fact, I have it written down
big.
as one of my possible upsets just to get a point.
Yeah.
Notre Dame. They're going to win this game.
Yeah, go Irish. Hey, the coach at Pitt has said, I don't care if we lose this game by 100. It's not our biggest
right.
game.
He did
So
say that.
he's
a great coach. Texas at Georgia. You guys, everybody's been so. I have to be the one who makes some controversial decisions here. I'll take the. I've always loved Texas once again, and so I'll take the Longhorns in the upset here.
No, Georgia.
Well, to play the game here, Georgia's gonna win the game, but I'm gonna pick Texas because I need
You
to
should
try
have
to
done
make
that
up
on
some
the last two when I didn't pick it.
I'm gonna go Texas.
All right, whatever.
Yeah, I'm out of the running, so I just want to get them right, dogs.
You guys are no fun. All right,
you're gonna close in on me, Nate.
Iowa at USC, and here, I'm sure. Assume you guys will all take Iowa. I'll take USC by again 3 touchdowns or so.
If this game were in Iowa City, I would definitely take Iowa.
We all know.
Because we all know that USC is not the same team when they have to come east.
Iowa's great.
USC's at home. USC.
All right.
I'll take Iowa. Have you guys seen the weather?
It's USC.
Yeah,
it could rain.
It's actually not going to be great out there on the West Coast.
I thought it
It's
never
gonna be
rains in
very
Southern
Iowa-
California.
Well, guess what? I was going to snap more balls over their punter's head by 15 feet.
That was stunning.
That was the worst snap I've seen in my life.
But he had back to back.
Yeah, the one before
But
it
the
was
second
awful
one
too.
was 10 feet high and 8 feet wide. It was crazy. It was in a different zip code where that thing
Some of the weather that I was played in this year, it makes me very concerned about what Black Friday is going to be like here in Lincoln.
Oh, don't say that.
All right, Nate, who you got?
Yeah, I'm going Trojans here. I'm just not buying
Nate,
Iowa on the road.
You're getting a point for that one. Congratulations. All right, your upset this week, touchdown or more underdog. I will take on Veterans Day week, our Navy getting 9.5 against South Florida. This screams one of those weird games where a team just isn't ready with a defense to take on the attack that Navy has. Give me Navy to win outright.
That was on my sheet, but there's another game that I kind of like, and I wouldn't mind seeing this result. Playing at Tiny Baby Stadium on the shores of Lake Michigan. Give me Northwestern plus 11.5 against mid Michigan.
They hold everything. It's in the friendly confines.
Oh, that's right.
Chicago.
We're playing at Wrigley Field.
Yeah.
Never mind.
Yep.
To heck with you. Northwestern's winning outright.
Whoa, buddy.
Because it'll be the most offense that ballpark has seen in the second half of the season.
Could Northwestern still get bowl eligible?
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're
at
5 right now.
5-4.
They're like 1 win away, right?
They need
good.
one win.
Yeah, because remember when they were playing Nebraska, that was for bowl eligibility.
They can go to Detroit. All right.
Big noon
Yep.
kickoff's going to be there.
That's right.
Wrigley Field.
Oh, wow.
I forgot about
No,
that.
that's
That's right.
Boy stumbling
Man,
out
it would
of
be
the
hilarious
Cubby Bear,
if Michigan
looking forward to it.
Michigan will lose that and then go beat Ohio State. All right. Who you got?
This is a week where there's a lot of options for the upset picks because
Yeah.
there's a lot of spreads that are more than 7.5. So I will go with Florida is getting 11.5 against Ole Miss. Take the Gators.
All the lane talk around that one.
My eyes are in the Sunshine State, too. I've been down on Miami all week. I think Dave Doran takes in the pack in there and at least keeps it close. The number's 14.5.
You kept discouraging people from picking Miami and
Yep.
Fantasy Huskers. Now I
Yep.
know why.
Indeed.
All right. Why did I pick this game to pick the score of? I don't really know. Penn State is Nebraska's next opponent, so we're all going to be interested in probably taking a look at this game at some point. Penn State, after getting their heart ripped out by Kurt Signetti at home, had a chance to just have this moment to turn around the sadness of the year. Couldn't do it. And now they go to Michigan State. Who knows where they're going to be in? Who do you have in this one? Listen, I think Penn State is going to be wiped out emotionally. I will take Michigan State 19-17.
Didn't they move? I thought they moved this game to Detroit. They did.
Is it? I don't know.
Well, it says on here it's at Spartan Stadium.
They have before, but I
They
don't
have
think it's
before.
They did a Black Friday
Gosh,
night
this-
game, yeah.
Penn State's going to end this losing streak at some point, and you better hope it's not the following week. I'm going to go Nittany Lions 26, Michigan State 19.
We both have Michigan State getting 19. Weird.
And I'm going to take 26. That's what I had written down prior to.
Oh, darn.
So I'll go Penn State 26, Michigan State 13. That game's on 10-11. It's a CBS
It
game.
is. Sounds like a great game. Watch
Yeah,
10-11.
not at all.
Because you can't watch most of the other channels.
24-17, Nittany Lions, my pick.
All right, that's it for the show. Have a great one. John, Kevin, thanks so much for coming in.
You're
Have
welcome.
a great weekend. All right, we'll see you on Monday. I'll see you this afternoon for Drive Time Lincoln on KLIN.
You're listening to the